If you've ever solved the LinkedIn zip game flawlessly and faster than average, bringing down your school's average time, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Wednesday. I almost said Friday because it's a synthetic Friday for me. Today is going to be the Wednesday, August 13th edition. We had the CPI happen yesterday. We closed at the highs. It looks like we're going a little bit higher today. Lots to break down. Several offerings that are sinking some stocks. Several earnings that are sinking some stocks as well. And a new IPO today. So we're going to go ahead and break all of that down here today. It's great to see all of you back. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Wednesday, August 13th begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope you all had a wonderful Tuesday evening. If you watched that Skinwalker Ranch show, let me know what you think is going on there. I haven't been watching it, but I kind of picked it up here on Tuesday. Curious about that. Anyway, I hope you all are rested and ready to go for another exciting day. We had a huge day yesterday, a huge and exciting day yesterday. We've got another one on deck here for today. I think, fingers crossed, we'll see. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Sun-Kissed Yogi is first today. Let's go, Sun-Kissed Yogi. Good to see you again. Welcome back. I think you're East Coast. I hope the weather is out well out there, or good out there, excuse me. Zach, good morning. Besant on Bloomberg bashing the Fed and its structure is something brewing. So my thought here real quick, I haven't thought a whole lot about this, so you can just cast this aside if you want. But my thought on this is that, especially given the report yesterday, I think that's probably the nail in the coffin. We're getting rate cuts in September. And I think Besant knows that. And I think the rest of the administration knows that. And I think that the comments that Besant made yesterday, the ones that really stick out were the ones about the 50 bips cut. And it seems to me like the administration or anyone in there is going to try and poke or promote to try and get a 50 bips cut instead of a 25. Ultimately, my gut feeling, we are going to get it cut in September and it will only be 25 bips. Now, is something more brewing? I don't know, Zach, but that's something that we'll keep an eye on. I'd like to hear what you think about that as well. Nonetheless, good morning. Kayla, hello, good morning. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Shanlu Trading, good morning. Do we trade and how? Yes. And yes. Good morning. Welcome back. Big Dave, welcome back. It's good to see you, my man. James, welcome back. Producer, you're not first. You're first in my heart and who I talk to from the team in the morning, but you're not first in posting here. Sun-Kissed Yogi, gotcha. Kerching. Yes, good morning. Sideshow, welcome back. It's good to see you. Yakshimash. Knights Lance, good morning. We are back at it again today. Brent, good morning. Good to see you. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Richard, good morning. Tom, good morning. Let's see, who else do we got here? Day Trader, welcome back. Good morning. Cam, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Day Trader saying face melting morning for crypto. Indeed. Ethereum really, really going crazy. Let's see where Bitcoin is at here today. Bitcoin 121. You think we take out the all-time highs there in Bitcoin? I think so, probably. Brandy, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you as always. E-Rock, locked in. It's good to see you, boss. Dirkus, good morning. Good morning and welcome back. Seahorse Trading, good morning from Key Largo Traveling Trade Station. Boy, you are all over the vacation spots, and it is absolutely awesome. Welcome back, Seahorse. Good morning. Abby, good morning. It's good to see you again. The Florida Yacht Insurance Guy, good to see you again as well. 08 Roush Stage 3. Dude, you have a 2008 Roush Stage 3 Mustang. I bet that thing is fast. I bet it looks awesome. I want pictures. Good morning and welcome. Love the car. Does it sound mean? That's got that side exhaust. Oh, anyway, 3D, buenos dias. Good morning, 3D. It's good to see you again. We talked about the stock 3D, DDD, triple D yesterday. Good to have you back. Carson, good morning. Welcome back. Knights Lance, we're going to try to make some money today. Absolutely. GB Slice, welcome back. JJ, welcome back. I already said that. Tyler, good morning. Van Wemmel, good morning. Robert, good morning. Did you see the Ondas offering? Yes, and I will cover it. I have some thoughts on that. And I'll give them to you unfiltered here in just a sec, Robert. Christian, good morning. Thinking about it, good morning. The Digital Dino, good morning. Shady, good morning. Billy, good morning. Brahim, good morning. Thinking about it, I think I already said good morning, but good morning again. Tim Melvin will be joining us here today. Boogie, good morning. Let's talk about CoreWeave. I believe I have a story on CoreWeave for the earnings reports. Absolutely. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. I love the plan and the ideas that were generated yesterday. We'll follow up and modify those here today. Day trader reminding us that Sol is back over 200. I will say, I know I get ripped every day by Lion for not buying Ripple. Honestly, it was the Sol fill that I never got that I kind of wish that I did. It's just my own personal preference. You've kind of sold me on Sol, day trader. So really kind of wish I had a position on that, but there will be time for that in the next pullback. Zoo, good morning. Jane, good morning. Vera, good morning. Chris, Ralph, and Michelle, good morning. Webcoin, good to see you again. Just passing through. Welcome back. White chocolate mocha, let's go. Brim for breakfast. Good morning. Maverick locked in. EKS is back. Byte Force, good morning. All right. Lots of activity here today. I absolutely love it. The energy is high, and for that, I'm appreciative. Let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY chart and the morning report before we go through some of this news prior to Tim Melvin's arrival. Starting with the SPY chart here, we are up again. You can see we're actually breaking out here. The candle yesterday, really, really bullish. We didn't just kind of peak above the all-time high. Instead, we actually moved up on the CPI print, had a little bit of maybe, let's call it profit-taking, knee-jerk reaction to the CPI, which kind of sold the thing off. Market opened. Market just traded up all day. We closed on the highs. We got a nice green power candle here. We're at the high end of the range. And today, we're actually higher here in the pre-market. Your high print in the pre-market here today on SPY, 644.40. S&P futures currently holding higher by 0.2%, 0.22 to the upside. Dow up 0.29 and NASDAQ up 0.27. So green arrows across the board here. As far as SPY goes, I don't have any upside targets. I think I would just have a cop-out call here and say I am kind of waiting for 650. I think that's kind of a roundish number that we might find some stalling at if we continue to trade up. We'll see. As far as the downside levels, those are a little bit more clear. I've got that 20-day moving average at 633.18. Now, the choppy pattern that we have been talking about for August, obviously still in effect. Today, we are alternating red and green candles on the daily here for SPY. Today, we're actually up in the pre-market, but if we maintain this pattern, we are likely going to sell off at some point here today. So we'll be watching for that. I kind of have a gut feeling that that's going to happen. I don't know that we're going to sell off enough to test the 633. The intraday low from yesterday is right about 636. Let me actually zoom in on this chart and see if I can give you the actual print. Right down here, 636 and change. Let me see if I can get the actual number there. 636.79 is your intraday low print from yesterday. Then we have the pre-market consolidation area down here about 635.5. So I would say those two levels, we'll see what happens if the price moves back in towards those levels. We'll see if it holds it at all. But right now, at least so far, flashing a green day, and that would actually break our streak here if we do close with a green candle on the daily. Now, if we maintain our streak, what does that mean? I don't know. It just means that our seasonality stats for August are pretty accurate. So that's kind of where we're at with the SPY. We'll see what's going on as far as economic events. We have crude. Let me just go to the morning update. They're all listed right there. Okay, economic events. We have the crude oil inventories at 10:30. I believe we also have Barkin, Goolsby, and Bostic speaking at some point here today. Yeah, it's listed right on there. I just need to keep reading. So those are going to be in the afternoon. I'm not sure if those are going to move the market. Like I said, I really think that the CPI print yesterday puts the nail in the coffin. We're getting rate cuts. So we'll see, I guess, what kind of tone these folks take when they start talking. As mentioned here, indices in the green, Bitcoin and Ethereum also in the green. Ethereum really ripping here. That is outperforming. I had mentioned that we have a new IPO today. We actually have two new IPOs. The first one here is going to be FGXC as your ticker. That's Frank Golf X-Ray Charlie. This is FG Merger 3 Corporation, and it priced at $10. I have no idea what anything about this company. I don't know where it's located. I don't know what it does. I don't know what they buy. I don't know how they make money. I don't know how any of that goes for this company. I've never heard of it before. The other one that we have here is Bullish, ticker BLSH. This price between 32 and 33. I think this one's going to get more action today. This is led by that Tom Farley, who used to run the NASDAQ or work at the NASDAQ. He used to appear on CNBC all of the time. Really sharp guy. He's the CEO of Bullish. They're IPOing here today. Price between 32 and 33. We'll see where it opens. As far as some initiations, we'll talk a little bit about Circle. They got a neutral from Baird, 185. They also did an offering, so we'll talk about that. They're actually holding up a lot better than Ondas is. We'll talk about both of those. Eat It. This is one of our gene editors. Baird gave them an outperform and a $6 price target. That stock is $236. These gene editors have moved before on some of these catalysts. They've actually provided some decent trades for some folks in our group. So maybe we get some more action there on Eat It on the back of that upgrade. Let's see if there was anything else in here to downgrades. ONON. All right. So the shoe company, Jeffries here, going to underperform $40 price target. Stock price is $49. Open Door got an underperform from Keefe, Briette, and Woods. Never heard of them. $1 price target. That stock's at $250. And Traeger, Cook. Let Traeger cook, huh? B. Riley giving a neutral there, $1 price target on Cook. It's $1.37. Yikes. Okay, and then upgrades. I don't really think there's anything on here. I guess Lumentum Holdings. We've traded light before a while ago. They got a neutral rating here from Bank of America, 135 target. The price is currently 125. Okay. Then we do have some earnings here today. Let's actually go to the earnings calendar. I like that layout a little bit better. Here you go. You can see what we had here in the morning. This is actually kind of a light day. Normally Wednesdays are pretty loaded up. Excuse me. But tonight we've got Cisco. That's probably going to be our bigger report. Maybe Coherent. We'll see. But this is what we're looking at for today. Worth noting, tomorrow morning, we're actually going to have John Deere report in the morning. It'll be interesting to see what that does and perhaps what that does for the Dow in terms of its price and all of that. But that's going on here tomorrow. Okay, let's dive into some of the news here real quick. We're going to start with a market update as per usual. The inflation report, which was released Wednesday, shows headline annual inflation holding steady at 2.7%, but core inflation, which strips out volatile food and energy prices, accelerated to 3.1%. The rise in the underlying inflation for a second consecutive month complicates the Fed's path, forcing it to weigh its mandate of price stability against supporting a potentially aligning jobs market. Despite this, the CME's group Fed Watch tool, which I think we talked about, we show here kind of often, the projections show the markets are pricing in a 96.2% likelihood of a Federal Reserve cut of the current interest rates for the September 17th decision. Football season will be started by then. That'll be awesome. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury yielded 4.26. The 2-year was 3.72. Let's go down to some of the insights here from some of the analysts. As the S&P 500 scaled its 16th all-time high of the year, it was also the 5th most of any year in history. This was pointed out by Charlie Bello of Creative Planning. If you want to save any of these charts, let me go ahead and add them here. Good morning, Top Talk stocks. This is why the Russell is up. Indeed, the thought of rate cuts really coming and coming soon should be beneficial for small caps, and we're seeing the IWM reflect that. I completely agree. Continuing here, as markets are continuing to climb a wall of worry, according to Chris Zaccarelli, Chief Investment Officer at Northlight Asset Management. But the bull market will persist as long as the unemployment rate remains low and inflation isn't high enough to deter the Fed. The prospect of a Fed rate cut, which seems more likely after the recent jobs and inflation report, is a major driver of this optimism. Zaccarelli suggests it's rare for the Fed to cut rates when a recession isn't imminent, a key factor that's getting investors excited. This positive sentiment isn't just benefiting technology and growth stocks. Eric Thiel, Chief Investment Officer of Comerica Wealth Management, highlighted that the prospect of rate cuts bodes well for traditional value sectors and small cap stocks. Take a bow, top talk stocks. That's hard to say fast. Take a bow. You gave the correct comment before I could get to that part of the story. These areas have lagged the market and are now primed to lead the market higher as breadth expands. We've actually talked about this here on this show. It would be phenomenal if some of these other stocks in the market became hot. got coverage. It had an increase in institutional ownership, all of these things. It would be great if investors really started to look outside of the Mag 7 and more at small cap stocks. He also mentions traditional value sectors here. This tells me that this is somebody that really wants the fundamentals to matter again. I think that would be beneficial for all of us, to be quite honest with you, but that would just be my read through on that. The S&P 500's V-shaped recovery after a 20% drawdown has been remarkably strong. Urian Timmer of Fidelity Investments pointed out that the index remains, quote, in the running for the fastest and strongest recovery ever. According to Louis Navalier, the bet on the September cuts jumped to over 90% from less than 84% following the report's release. This expectation fueled a relief rally in the stock market, with Navalier noting that the market is showing, quote, no fear of labor issues or inflation, end quote. This is consistent with what he told us when we had him on here not long ago. Okay, let's get to some of the top stories here for today. That's your market breakdown. The big one that everyone is talking about, kind of a wild thing here. Google Chrome was targeted in a $34.5 billion bid by AI rival Perplexity amid this antitrust case. Now, this is where this gets crazy here. Perplexity offered to purchase Chrome's browser for $34.5 billion. Perplexity is valued at $18 billion. So they're valued at 18 and they're making an offer, or they're making an offer to purchase for $34.5 billion. Now, you might be saying, well, how is that possible? It does seem like they have a lot of backing to do this from, I guess, wealthy donors or people that are involved, but wild nonetheless to see. Not sure how I feel about that. I do like Perplexity. I guess maybe if it was tied into the browser I use, that's probably a net positive. But nonetheless, the long shot bid comes as U.S. District Judge considers remedies after ruling Google illegally monopolized the search market, with a forced sale of the browser being a possible, though unlikely, outcome. Perplexity's offer may be an attempt to signal to the judge that an interested buyer exists for Chrome, and it should be forced to sell. Per the Wall Street Journal report, Google has not indicated any willingness to sell its browser, which accounts for over 60% of the global market. I'm actually shocked it's this low. Just based on my own usage, I would have thought it's a little bit higher, especially if you include mobile devices. Perplexity is a San Francisco-based artificial intelligence startup founded in 2022 that aims to challenge Google's web search dominance. The company recently released its own web browser named Comet. Now, I haven't tried this at all. I have no experience with Comet. If you do, I'd like to hear about that. Jane, I see you use Opera. I've heard a lot of really good stuff about that. Cam, this is a blast from the past, bringing me back to my childhood, saying Ask Jeeves is actually better than Google. I find that funny here. Anyway, interesting stuff here. The browsers here, I know everyone's got their favorite. Brave gets a lot of talk as well. I use Chrome on both my Mac and my PC. It's really just kind of ease of use. I am struggling with the ad blocker. I've kind of lamented that a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. This move adds to the narrative of AI challenging Google's dominance through the company's core business, though the company's core business remains strong. Dan Ives of Wedbush Securities recently stated, quote, "The death of search is greatly exaggerated," end quote, citing a robust second quarter earnings where search business sales grew 10% to $71.3 billion. This financial strength persists even as 91% of fund managers in Bank of America view U.S. stocks as overvalued. This is the highest reading since 2001. Meanwhile, Google continues to push its own AI initiatives, such as a partnership with NASA on an AI space doctor, while its DeepMind CEO acknowledges that inconsistency in AI remain a key roadblock towards developing more advanced artificial general intelligence. Let's see. Okay, and that's just some ratings on it. So let me know what you think here. Do you think this is going to go through? Do you think there's any benefit here? Big B's, maybe the issue of Google antitrust could be an out for Google, rather not sure what's going on behind the scenes. This is kind of where I land. I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes either. I don't really know how this is going to end up. It's just really kind of funny that a company that's worth $18 billion is offering $34.5 to buy Google Chrome. Anyway, We'll see how this all unfolds. Okay, you guys wanted to take a look at CoreWeave, and I don't blame you. Let's go ahead and do that. I love the discussion that we had yesterday about, perhaps CoreWeave here, CRWV. CoreWeave, here we go. Stock is down 9% here in the pre-market. This is a look at the daily chart. Really looked like we recaptured the 50, looked like we were going to roll, and then here we go. You're not seeing my charts because I'm not sharing the right screen. Thank you, producer. Always got my back. You love it. You love to see it. CoreWeave shares are trading lower after the company reported mixed Q2 financial results. So you can see what's going on here. We traded up all day yesterday, and then that thing crashed all the way back down to the intraday low. We really haven't violated that. So right off the deck here, before we go through the earnings, this level down here, this is going to be a key level for me. Let's call it 131.5. Maybe even 131 to 131.5. This is going to be key. If CoreWeave can hold this, maybe we will see some more upside here, though. If not, could see some more downside. Could definitely see some more downside. Let's take a look at the earnings themselves. CoreWeave reported second quarter revenue of $1.21 billion. This beat the analyst estimate of $1.08 billion. The company reported second quarter adjusted loss of 27 cents per share. The estimate here was for a 17-cent loss per share. So they lost more money than thought, although they did have more in terms of revenue. CoreWeave has operated data centers across the U.S. and Europe since 2017. The company went public on the NASDAQ at $40 per share earlier this year. It provides access to NVIDIA GPUs to large technology and AI-focused companies. Total revenue was up more than 300% on a year-over-year basis. The company said it ended the quarter with a backlog of $30.1 billion. CoreWeave reported $1.19 billion in operating expenses during the period and ended the quarter with $1.15 billion in cash and cash equivalents. Quote, our strong second quarter performance demonstrates continued momentum across every dimension of our business. We are scaling rapidly as we look to meet unprecedented demand for AI. This comes from Michael Intrator. I think that's how you pronounce it. Intrator, maybe, the co-founder and CEO there of CoreWeave. So I know where we left off with this yesterday, we kind of thought that, hey, maybe the stock pops on earnings. Maybe this gives a higher stock price so that when we get to Friday, when that lockup expires, when the insider lockup expires, maybe we'll see some more selling. So again, that lockup date, 8/14, Friday, 8/15 is going to be the first day that the insiders can actually sell those shares on the public market. What do you folks think is going to happen? What do you folks think is going to happen with that? Do you think we see some more selling? Might there be a trade here to the downside? And then perhaps most importantly, if you are trading this, if this is something that interests you, how are you trading it? Are you taking puts? What are you doing? I'm curious on anyone's trade plan here for CoreWeave. Unfortunately, I won't be on that morning to talk to you about it. I'll be on a T-box, and I'm okay with that. Okay, let's talk really quick before we go to Tim Melvin. I know you guys are asking me about Ondas. Let me just talk about that here real quick. Then we'll bring on Tim. I do have some more stuff that we can cover, so we should have a full slate of content here today. Okay, now. You guys asked me, what do I think about this? And did I see it? Yes, of course I saw it. Of course I saw it. Now, what do I think about this? It's hard for me to have a different opinion than Nathan right here. Nathan says, Ondas pulled the ultimate dick move and diluted 1 minute after close, and it's down 20% here today. Nathan isn't wrong. And frankly, my thought here is, are you effing kidding me? Are you effing kidding me? We have arguably the best day in this company's history yesterday. We don't have, some C-suite executive saying, hey, business looks good going forward. This is going to be awesome. No, we actually got results. They beat on their last quarter. They raised their guidance. This is a legit catalyst that we got yesterday. Caused the stock to trade up like crazy. This is a stock that has really been kind of turning around, fixing its balance sheet to put itself in a more competitive financial position. And it has been successful in doing that. Then we get this earnings. Then we get a guidance raise. Then we get an awesome day where the stock rips out of the open, sells off as people take profit, and then trades back towards the high. I mean, this is exactly the type of action you want to see out of a company. And then what happens? Literally, as soon as the market closes, they propose a share offering. And that sinks the stock here. Now, can we just get one day? Can we get one full day, Eric? Please, Eric being the CEO, can we just get one full day to feel good about the stock that has made people pull their hair out of their damn head? No, we can't. We can't have nice things around here. They had the best day ever, and so we're going to propose an offering here, and that really brought it down. Now, on the flip side of that, the glass half full approach, which I pride myself on, they fixed their balance sheet. They've really kind of turned this company around. They're proposing an offering. They definitely want to ramp drone production. They should have the backing of the administration and favorable regulations going forward. So you definitely don't want to miss this opportunity. And they said that they're going to dump this money back into the company. So if we actually take a look at the story here, after the market closed on Tuesday, Ondas said it intends to offer and sell shares of its common stock. The size of the offering was not disclosed. But actually, I got a little pro tip that we can go through here. I'll do that maybe a little bit later. I don't want to spend too much time on that here because we have a guest to get to. But I'll show you actually how to kind of figure that out. The company plans to grant underwriters a 30-day option to purchase additional shares. All of the shares in the offering will be sold by Ondas, and net proceeds are expected to be used for working capital, general corporate purposes, and potential strategic transactions. So they should help. This should help the company in the long run. Initially, when they released this offering in the after hours yesterday, it actually got bought back up pretty well. That was encouraging. This morning, though, we're having more people digest this, probably people that left their terminal yesterday, and they don't like what they see here. The other thing that I kind of draw from this is that there's definitely a lot of leftover Twitter traders in this. We've talked about some of the big accounts. Whether or not you think it's a pump and dump or whatever, I'm not even going to bother fighting that. I don't really care, frankly, what other people do. I have my own thesis that I'm going to follow. But we also have people that have kind of tailed into this that don't really care about the company, that are really only looking at the P&L. And when you have a big 25% up day and then you have a offering that sinks the stock 20%, it's going to puke people out the backside of this move. Without a doubt, that's going to amplify the selling. And I believe that's exactly what we're seeing here today. So do I like this? No, I agree with Nathan. This is a dick move. I normally don't use that language, but Nathan is spot on here. We can't even have one full effing day before they do the offering. I mean, come on. Now you guys know why this has been kind of such a pain to hold. Now, thankfully, I trimmed some at 415 yesterday, so that has worked. We trimmed also at 350 and 150 on the way up here. So it's not as if we're just giving everything back yesterday. We still booked gains, still raised cash. It's still been a good trade. But hot damn, I would have loved to have some more continuation on this. We didn't need to kill all that good mojo and put all this negative energy into the stock. We didn't need that right there. We didn't need that right there. Anyway, let's see if there was anything else in here. And then he says here, so we ended Q2 with over $68 million in cash, and in July retired the remaining balance of Ondas Holdings convertible notes, putting us on a strong financial footing. With record customer activity, a growing backlog, and deepening visibility, we are building a highly scalable platform. We expect to exit 2025 with a record backlog and clear revenue visibility into 2026. That came from the earnings release. So let's hope so. I will say this. I do think that he has now put pressure on himself, because if you do this, like you spent a lot of time turning stuff around, you did it. It was successful. Then you reported earnings in which you beat and guided higher. Now the pressure's on, because if you don't continue to execute here, people are going to be pissed. And they're going to sell this effing stock. So I hope all of you that were trading this, you were at least able to put some money in your pocket. Just to borrow one of Tim Melvin's quotes, when you put money in your pocket, the market can't take it back. So hopefully y'all folks were able to do some of that. There are my thoughts on Ondas. There are my thoughts on Ondas. Robert says, this was the first time I took profits from Ondas. I didn't see it keeping to the high price given the current orders. Okay, so you traded that well, Robert. Really, really well. Izzy, you were asking me if I'm going to add here. No, maybe I will add here. I do want to give this today. I don't want to add right now in the pre-market. That I feel like is setting myself up for failure. Let's see how this trades today and maybe over the next couple of days here. I've been trimming on the way up, so adding back is a possibility. But frankly, I don't really want to add anywhere around 350. If this dipped below 3, maybe we'll start to talk about that, but I'll keep you posted on all of that. Anyway, good stuff there. James says, I laugh not to cry. Okay. Ryan saying buying opportunity. Look, I hope that's the case. I really do. I really, really hope that this is a buying opportunity. Okay. Enough time with my ranting. We're going to go for someone else who has some pretty epic rants. We're going to bring on Tim Melvin. Tim, good morning. Happy Wednesday.
Well, I'm having a happy Wednesday. It sounds like you're having a terrible Wednesday.
No, I do not. Okay, so I am definitely loaded up on coffee, but Tim, this is my synthetic Friday. Yesterday was an amazing day for me. Yesterday was an amazing day for me, and there is no way I am going to let this spoil my day. I'm doing great. I feel great. We're doing well. We're out here to trade. Good to see you, boss.
Good to see you too. And it's getting started here. If you can't be too surprised that on this sold stock yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, you're right, and I want to hear your explanation for this. But Tim, this is more of just like a personal thing. This has been, let's call it a labor of love. All right, this has been a rough hold for a long time, and it's finally starting to working. We couldn't even get 24 hours.
Well, no, look, if you're going to speculate, and this is a speculative stock, right? They don't make any money. They're trading at 36 times sales. They have a cool story, but it is a speculative stock. You are not investing. You are trading. Now, you look at this company and you expect some miracle string of positive announcements. You're being unrealistic.
Well, that's the thing, Tim. We've actually had a pretty good miracle string of positive news flow over the last month, and this is really the kind of the end of the cycle.
But none of them turned into revenue, or it's all revenue down here, right? So revenue down here is volatile as hell, right?
No question.
So you got to look at that and say they're going to need more money, right? So the stock is rising. It's on fire. Everybody loves it. Everybody's buying the story. I need to sell my stock now.
Yeah.
It's going to piss people off. Shame on them for trusting me. Sell the stock. And that's just the way these smaller companies with, great stories at asinine multiples are going to trade. I mean, it's just, you have to expect that when you're trading the story, and I've said this a million times, whatever the story is, just like nuclear energy was never more than a story.
Yep.
You got to have a stop. You got to have a stop because you're not investing, you're trading.
So that's a really good point. And again, just to kind of reiterate here, I've been so well trained on this name. This is one of the reasons that I trimmed yesterday at 415. I've been trimming on the way up. My cost basis on this stock is 77 cents. Right. I'm not hurting. Okay.
No, it doesn't sound like it. Yes.
No. And the thing is that, because I've kind of been through this before, including at the beginning of the year where the stock ran to $3.50 and then all the way back to 77 cents. Believe me, I learned my lesson then. And in the moment, and the other thing about this is that in the moment, Tim, I knew I have a good till canceled order to trim some more of these shares at $5. Well, yesterday, even when we were ripping, I understood that we probably weren't going to see $5. We are up 25% here. I'm up several 100% on this core position. The good thing to do here, the responsible trader thing to do here is trim some. And I did. And so I'm ranting here because I want 24 hours of to feel good, but the reality is that you're bringing all of these points that you're bringing up are spot on.
I'm going to give you one more, and then we're going to move on to a different topic. You can fall in love with a stock, right? If you own Costco at $8 a share from 30 years ago, you can love that stock and refuse to ever sell anything. Okay. I know a guy who bought McDonald's at like $12 back in 2000. He loves McDonald's. He's never going to sell his McDonald's. He's got, big embedded gains. You can fall in love with a long-term position. You cannot fall in love with a trade. It will bankrupt you.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really, really good point. And one more thing, I know Amanda's not here, but over the past couple of weeks, Amanda has been saying, hey, if you think Ondas is going to go back down, the calls chain, the option chain is hot now. Why don't you sell some upside calls against your stock? And then there you go. So there's definitely ways to handle this. We'll see how this trades here today. Tim, let's move on, though. What do you got?
All right, moving on. We got fun with 13Ds today, Ryan. Or 13Fs, I'm sorry, because 13Fs are coming in fast and furious. And the deadline is tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Tomorrow, you're going to see all the 13F headlines. For those of you that don't know, every quarter, 45 days after the end of the calendar quarter, if you're a money manager, family office, hedge fund, private equity fund, anybody that manages money for public corporations and you have over $100 million in publicly traded assets, you have to file a form with the SEC saying, this is the stuff I own. If you take this quarter's form and compare it to last quarter's form, you know what everybody out there was buying and selling with their clients' money and not just saying on TV. Now, when I used to do this, we used to do it with yellow highlighters, and we'd print these off of the dot matrix printers off of a quote dot, right? So you had to wait till everybody went home, and when the clerk came in the morning, they'd be pissed because all the dot matrix printer paper and ink was gone because it just would just like print all night. You know?
You remember how loud those things were?
Oh my, yeah, absolutely. So I mean, you're talking about sitting in a brokerage. You couldn't do this in the middle of the day. Somebody would have killed you. So we'd print these off and we'd make the comparisons with our little yellow highlighter. I got to tell you, and I wrote about this the other day, kind of jokingly, but it's sort of true. Between that and going through the S&P stock guides and S&P bond guides with highlighters, our two biggest office expenses back then in this office out in California were highlighter expenses from doing this, looking for ideas. And then we broke a lot of ashtrays because we had a couple guys who were big on shorting the brand newly minted OEX options on the day of expiration. And the pinning and arbitrage that used to go on around that day, they would generally break ashtrays. So those were our two biggest office expenses back in the day. So anyway, we're going
amazing that ashtrays were ever an office expense.
Oh my God. I used to, and some of my best memories are sitting in there after hours, everybody's gone, and I'm chain smoking and cold calling. It was great.
The good old days, as they say.
So, but look, everybody's going to talk about Warren Buffett. They're going to talk about Carl Icahn. They're going to talk about Stanley Druckenmiller. They're going to talk about Bill Ackman. They're going to talk about all the famous guys, right? Newsflash: the famous guys are filthy, dirty, stinky rich. If you're not, what they're doing doesn't have a lot of application to you. Out of that whole group of really famous ones that are on TV, the only ones I pay any attention to are Druckenmiller and Tepper, because of the philosophy and the way they invest. They sort of can't help themselves from being right a lot. But like what Warren Buffett's doing, what Carl Icahn's doing, what Bill Ackman are doing, absolutely no value to me. I cannot get to that quick information quicker than anybody else. Okay. Having said that, there's still a ton of value in 13F land. Let me give you an example. Well, first, two main points. I go through these things every quarter. I go through a lot of them thanks to the genius of the internet that Al Gore gave us. I can go through a whole bunch really, really fast. Okay. Now, here's a couple of observations that you need to be aware of. When you come out to the world of professionally managed money, there's literally thousands of these. I think there's going to be 8,000 filed by the time we're all done for the quarter. There is an enormous amount of money that is closet indexed, right? It's the S&P 500 plus or minus a few percentage points. And so it's just tweaking sectors just a little tiny bit. And they're charging fees for that, which is just crazy. Then there's an awful lot of money out there that's just, they're charging fees and they're terrible at this, right? The number of people underperforming by a significant amount and charging public fees are huge. And I'm not John Hammond from Jurassic Park. I do not walk with a cane. However, if I could get the dinosaurs to dance in my backyard, there'd be a party. So anyway, and the other thing that I want to tell you is that a lot of the media is going to write very breathlessly about what Vanguard and Fidelity and BlackRock and Northern Trust and even Goldman Sachs were buying in the quarter. Never listen to that person again. Okay, just spike them. They don't know what they're talking about. Those are indexers across the board. Even Goldman Sachs, 20 years ago, what Goldman Sachs was doing was critically important. Today, that's all indexing and basket trades and managed money. So if somebody says, well, they did this and they bought this and they don't know what the hell they're talking about, you're done with that person. Okay. Now, Flipping through yesterday, I'm going through, I'm looking, and I see one, Staginsky Capital. It's on the North Shore of Long Island in Port Washington, New York. Now, I'd never heard of it, but they're sitting there and they've been in business a really long time. And they own 7, 8 stocks. They've only owned 7, 8 stocks since they opened the doors in 2000. It's a guy who started working for Oppenheimer back in 1981. Last name is Staginsky. His son and an office manager. Ryan, these guys have crushed the market, killed it. I mean, not by an insignificant amount. It's like a 50% over the last 20 years improvement over the broad market's rate of return. Now, they've lost money 7 years out of 25. They've underperformed 11 in the last 24, but they've never changed their style. They bet on people, they bet on management, and they hold stocks for an obscenely long period of time. They have a 7-year average holding period. Right? They invest in people. They go to the annual meetings. They talk to the management. They believe in people and what they call intelligent dislocation. So I find these guys fascinating because this is anti-indexing to a very large degree. Okay. Now here's what they own. It's all they own, and they've owned them all for a really long time. They own Google.
Okay, that's been a huge winner.
Yeah, these have all been huge winners. Martin Marietta Materials, Martin Marietta Materials, MLM. And I'm just going to tell you something, guys. This is an indirect backdoor AI and reshoring play because they're in aggregates, asphalt, everything that goes into construction, right? I don't know if you've noticed what data centers are made out of, but it's concrete block to be able to withstand weather issues. Concrete block uses a ton of aggregates, right? So Martin Marietta's, all that we're hearing about reshoring, AI, expansion, data centers, this is a huge backdoor play on that. Then Fastenal Industrials, and again, that's just, building boom, reshoring play. Berkshire, we all know what that is. Markel is the mini Berkshire, right? It's another insurance company with a really smart guy running it who's got a great track record. They do more technology-focused stuff than Berkshire does. It's worth reading Markel's annual reports to see what they're buying. And of course,
real quick, Tim, before we get too far down here, thinking about it was saying, can you spell the name of the firm that you're referencing?
Yes, 1 second, please. Hang on. Steginsky. So anyway, just a great story of how thinking differently takes you to some really interesting places. And the big story that comes out of this, holding period matters, right? You think about holding stocks for 7 years over the last 25 years through the internet meltdown, through the great financial crisis, through the COVID crisis, through the taper tantrum and everything else, to just say, I know these people. I believe in them. I love what the business is doing. I'm just going to hold. Maybe I'll buy a little bit more, but I'm not blinking. I'm not panicking. I'm going to hold. It requires a huge degree of conviction. So I thought that was interesting. One that we always comment on, and I'm going to do this one quickly because I got a couple I want to spend a couple minutes on. William Obendorf is a wildly successful venture capital and tech investor out of the San Francisco area. Here's a cool one for you, Ryan. He is a huge Republican donor, and he lives in San Francisco. This dude has to have an interesting life.
I was going to say, he's probably got some interesting opinions, too.
I bet he's got a bodyguard, too.
Several.
Okay. Obviously, he's got Google. Everybody's got Google, right? He's got Monday.com, MNDY. It's an Israeli software company.
Yeah, that actually just reported earnings and got pounded.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Great company. Smart money buying. So it might be worth a deep list. Sprott Physical Gold, PHYS. Interesting play there. Clearly thinks that inflation and gold are going to be with us a while. Autodesk, ADSK, and then Datadog, which is a company that's the backbone of the AI-driven future is data. Datadog is going to be a big player in that. Just kind of want to throw that one out because this guy has a fantastic, highly concentrated track record Massive philanthropist in education too, by the way. Really good guy.
Oh man, my mom and dad would love that. Autodesk here, by the way, ticker ADSK. Excuse me. This is actually at a pretty interesting point here today as we back test a trend line that we broke out of. The other one there was Datadog. This is one that we've taken a look at post earnings here. This also at a pretty interesting spot here today as it is defending its 200-day.
Yeah, and like I said, look, Datadog is going to be one of those backbones. I think they're going to be one of the survivors and backbones of the big data future. You throw them in there. I lump them in kind of with Palantir into a group. Mm-hmm. They're going to be sort of the backbone of everything that's coming next. That's one that, it may have a short lifespan because somebody buys it, by the way.
Okay, well, that would probably be all right for us.
Yes, I think it would. Now, the next one is, and this is old school, okay? It's Tweedy Brown out of New York. Most people don't know who Tweedy Brown is. Tweedy Brown started its life as a brokerage firm in New York, and they had a really big customer, and his name was Ben Graham. And because Tweedy made markets in small, illiquid securities all over the country. They actually used to run ads in newspapers. Do you have shares of ABC Bank? We will pay you for them. Do you have shares of Jones Industrial? We will pay you for them. And they would trade these really super illiquid stocks. Ben Graham, of course, was big on illiquid stocks. Warren Buffett worked for Ben Graham, and one of his first jobs was he would take the checks and canceled stock certificates from Graham's office down to Tweedy Brown. Okay, so that was kind of how Tweedy Brown came into business. They were a broker in illiquid securities. Then a guy came in named Tom Knapp, and he was a partner, and he went into the boss. He said, "Hey, boss, these guys that are doing this, Ben, and now Warren's on his own, and he's making a ton of money. They're really making a lot of money with these securities they're buying from us. Why don't we just keep some of them?" And so they started managing in-house for their own account, keeping some of them, grew up. They accidentally took control of a closed-end fund, so they could either divest the position or register as advisors. So they registered under the 40 Act. They started taking public money. The rest is history. They're an enormous firm now.
That's actually a pretty sweet story, to be honest.
It's a great story. And Joe Riley, the partner, there's the one, and I always tell this story. Joe was in the office during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and Howard Brown, the senior partner, goes to lunch. Everybody's around the little TV at the trading desk, right? Because you're 24 hours, maybe less, from the end of the world. Yep. World War III with atom bombs.
Bye, baby.
Right? Everybody's terrified. They're watching the TV and listening to Walter Cronkite, right? Except Howard comes back from lunch, and Joe is buying like a wild man. He's calling every broker that will answer the phone and go, "Give me 1,000 of that. Give me 10,000 of that. How much you got of that? I'll take it. And so Howard's like, "Joe, what the hell are you doing? This could be the end of the world." And Riley looks up at him and he says, "You're absolutely right, Howard. It could be, but it might not be. And if it is the end of the world, nobody's going to care how much money we lose in these stocks, right? There won't be anybody left to care. It really won't matter if the world ends. However, if the world doesn't end, these stocks are going to make us a fortune." Well, we all know which one happened. And I always try to hear that story in the back of my brain when I see the latest end of the market, end of the world meltdown. Because if the world doesn't end, we're going to make a lot of money. So anyway, Tweedy's still very true to the old school value stuff. And I follow what they're buying new because generally speaking, they end up doing pretty well. A lot of them, like one of the first stocks I ever gave you guys when we started this adventure was CNH Industrial, which was a Tweedy Brown pick, which has done pretty well. I mean, it did not set the world on fire, but it went from about $8, trading eventually to as high as 14, and it pays a fat dividend. I'll take that. So anyway, Tweedy bought in the quarter. They bought HFN, which is a Singapore-based shipping company. Nice $5 stock for everybody. And they do
HFN, Hank?
HAFN.
HAFN,
right.
Okay.
And their form of shipping, they do the oil and gas transportation services, okay? So they're taking all the stuff out to the rigs, and they're bringing petroleum products back in. So they have the provision boats, and they have the boats that bring petroleum back in
Sure.
to shore. So a lot of operations in the North Sea, in and around Singapore and Africa. Basic core business, part of the energy revolution, trading at a whopping 5 times earnings in here with a 9% dividend yield. And it's a variable dividend. They pay out cash flow. So you've got a little bit of insider buying being reported in this on the Singapore exchanges. Great yield, deeply undervalued stock, worthy of further research.
Okay.
They also bought some prospect capital in the quarter, which was interesting to me, PSEC, because that is a very that is a BDC that I'm very familiar with. It has really struggled over the last couple of years with non-performing loans. They've tried to move into multifamily.
You know what's interesting that they're buying this? I almost wonder if they're buying this because they think there's a turnaround. This thing pays a monthly dividend, and it's a pretty nice dividend.
Look at the insider buying.
But I mean, they've been doing this for They've been buying this since it was $5 more.
Yep. Yes.
Oh my God. That's all they do is buy this thing.
Right. Eventually they're going to end up buying control of the whole thing, John Barry. But in order to do that, he'll have to pay a premium to the remaining 2 shareholders. So,
Tim, I can't, and I'm sorry, this is just kind of off the cuff. I can't ever recall seeing this much insider buying where the chart looked like it was literally leaking the entire. This is unbelievable.
I'm willing to buy John Barry dinner if he'll just tell me what the hell he's doing here.
Yeah, I actually own this. I actually own this for a while. I ended up taking a loss on the underlying, but I got paid. It wasn't as bad. Like if you look at everything, it wasn't as bad as it looked on the P&L chart because I got paid dividends monthly for holding this thing.
That's the other thing. They may be just removing all the cash out of the company via dividend. So it's it's an interesting play. And they also bought Cenovus Energy, this oil and gas integrated out of Canada. CVE, decent company.
What's the ticker?
That's CVE.
CVE. Yeah, I always get these energy companies mixed up.
Yeah. And then they also bought KT, which is the old Korea Telecom. And again, look, these are not going to be the most exciting stocks you ever own. These are old school value, dividend paying stocks. By the way, KT just, they're trading less than 90% of book. Big earnings increase expected this year. Dividend's going to go from 2 to over 4. Just kind of a solid company. And we've talked about Korea before. It's one of the cheapest markets in the world. We do like it. And then EMBC. I love this stock. Okay. It's in full disclosure. I will be buying this one on the next.
Echo November.
What? And Echo Michael BC, Boy Charlie. This is a really basic business. Medical devices, pens, needles, syringes, and safety devices with a digital app for diabetes.
Okay. Pays a 4% dividend.
And I will tell you the one thing we're producing at record rates here in the United States is diabetes. Yes, we are. We're setting the pace globally. So you've got a stock trading at less than 10 times earnings. Massive earnings increase coming this year. Should end up at $2.95 for full year next year. Decent, not spectacular growth rate, but 70 cents on the dollar sales, very low PE, very attractive dividend at 4.5%, and a business that A, it's not going away. B, only an $800 million market cap, so producing pretty fair amount of cash flow. This thing's only trading at 6 times free cash flow, so it's producing a ton of free cash flow.
Tim, I'll tell you something. Looking at this revenue of 295 mil versus 780 mil cap, this is actually one of the cheaper stocks that we look at on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah.
My revenue to market cap.
Right. So, you have to be thinking in the back of your mind, somebody's going to buy this.
Okay. It's a potential takeover target. I love that. As a long-term investor, you tell me there's a potential premium to get paid, and I wake up one morning plus 30%. I love it.
Okay. Now, the next one, I'm going to touch the high points. I don't have time to do this next firm complete justice. Trust me when I tell you to write down the name of this firm, go back to their website and read their last 2 quarterly letters. You should actually read the last 20, but the last 2 minimum. Okay. And this is Horizon Kinetics and Murray Stahl. Again, full disclosure, we have some money in their funds.
Rising Kinetics.
Horizon, Horizon, Kinetics, Kinetics. They've been around a long time. They have crushed the market, and they've been all over the inflation story for a very long time. We're perfectly well positioned for that. My only well, no, I actually have Bitcoin in 2 funds, but this is my biggest Bitcoin exposure is because they have some in the particular fund that I own.
I had to pinch myself to make sure I'm alive here. I can't believe Tim Melvin has Bitcoin exposure, but here we are.
Here we are. Now, first thing that I'm going to mention to you guys, they found a segment of the Japanese market. This is a remarkable story. But in the 25 years, and they write about it in the shareholder letter. That's why I want you to read it. 25 years where Japan was just like a sewer. The stock went nowhere. It was like, the nightmare story, the Widowmaker trade, Japanese stocks just, fell from way up here to way down here and went sideways. There was a segment of the Japanese market that, outperformed. I think it earned like 18% a year. Something really, really big number like that. And nobody pays any attention to the segment. It gets no press. Nobody thinks about it. Nobody really even knows about it. And because Japan is not really an entrepreneurial society, it is an old society. It's an old economy, lots of cross holdings, lots of older established companies. Founder owned and led companies in Japan have crushed the market and continue to do so. Now, why is this a cool story? Because they made an ETF out of it. Okay, and it's a fairly new ETF. It's the manager is actually in Japan, and he's introduced and talks in the shareholder letter. It's killing it. It's up 15% a year. It's relatively new. The money's flowing into this thing like crazy. By the way, you can cherry pick and take some of the holdings that are traded in the OTC markets. There's no New York Stock Exchange listed stuff in here. There's only 31 companies out of all the companies in Japan that qualify as founder-owned and led companies. They're in a wide range of businesses. They're in technology, utilities, industrial services. Japan Elevator Service Holdings is in there. They're one of the dominant elevator players in the country. There's a resort company in there. So there's some cool businesses in here that are kind of like backbone of the Japanese economy with the founders in charge. Founders pretty much anywhere in the world, a founder-led company is going to outperform everything else. In Japan, the outperformance is stark.
What is the ticker for this ETF?
I thought you'd never ask. JAPN.
I thought you were building to something and I didn't want to spoil it. I was ready to ask early.
Oh no, I know. Don't ruin the date, Ryan.
I'm not trying. Believe me, I've ruined plenty of those. We don't need to do that anymore.
All right, real quick, because I don't want to run out of time. These two are important. 2 biggest buys in the last quarter. Hawaiian Electric. What a great story.
Oh my.
Okay. And by the way, I have made enough money to pay off my extended arguments with the IRS, pay for the weddings of a couple of bartenders, their children, my kids' school, all of that in busted and broken utility stocks by buying them at the right price. Utilities don't go out of business, ladies and gentlemen. Bankruptcy is just a buying event. These guys did not go bankrupt. The preferred stocks, by the way, if you're looking for a nice 7.5% yield with some upside, all of the preferreds are still performing, paying. The bonds are paying. There is the fire, right? The Mari fire. Yep. They were deemed to have a huge responsibility here. It's a $1.92 billion settlement that they're going to pay off in chunks over the next 4 years. They have the capital to pay off the chunks. They sold the bank that they owned for a whole bunch of it. This is going to happen, okay? There's no dividend because they needed to pay the chunks. But this is a regulated utility that's, serves a significant portion of the Hawaiian market. It's not going anywhere. They're going to do a capital raise. It will be successful. It will not be very dilutive at all. And the dilution is more than priced into the stock at the current price. Now, look, before this fire happened, all right, Hawaiian Electric Industries was a $40 stock, paying a very nice dividend, very nice dividend. All right. Now, what do you think is going to happen once the liability's paid off? It's going to be a very nice stock in a regulated utility and just paying a very nice dividend. It's at $11. It doesn't have to go back to 40 for me to do a happy dance.
Yeah, that.
Okay. So next up, and San Juan Basin Trust. Now, San Juan Basin Trust is an oil and gas royalty trust. Nobody knows where the hell the San Juan Basin Trust is. They never even heard of it. It's not the Permian. It's in New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Arizona. And it's methane from a coal bed formation. I mean, this is just like the most obscure trust possible, right? And to top it all off, they suspended the dividend.
What was the ticker on this one?
SJT.
SJT.
Mm-hmm. So they suspended the dividend because they did a huge expansion effort, okay? And they increased drilling capacity by 8-fold in total. But by the way the trust document's written, the trust manager has to get paid back all of their expenses before they can reinstate the dividend. That happens sometime in the next year. If all the expenses were paid with the new production in place, right now, today, the cash flow on this thing would be generating a 17% dividend. So again, once this is all paid, it's not a choice. It's not a declaration of a dividend. It's a royalty trust. They have to pay it. Okay. So sometime in the next year, going to cross over the line. Everything will be paid. They're going to have to start paying a new dividend. So it's a really compelling story. It's going to double in price, in my opinion, when the dividend comes back in, not shortly thereafter. And that's with gas at $3, by the way. Anything that takes gas higher, and there's lots of things that could take gas higher over time, are going to add tremendously to the upside potential of this thing. So, yeah, this has huge upside. This is the kind of thing Horizon Kinetics invests in, but you really need to do yourself a favor. This is an investing education. You got a kid that's within a year or two of graduating college, you sit them down and say, you read these last 5 years of these, or I ain't paying your tuition next year. Okay? Because they'll be a lot richer later in life and they will thank you for it. Well, not personally, you won't be here anymore, but they'll go to the cemetery and thank you there.
They'll speak very highly of you. I like it. You're in good company.
They'll tell your grandchildren nice things about you. So there you go.
You're in good company. Anne Marie owns this one as well.
Yes.
Anne Marie, hope you're feeling better today.
Hi, Anne Marie. Well, I'll talk to you later because we're doing our accelerator broadcast later today. They're finally Digital Bridge, DBRG, really kind of a volatile stock. I should by rights hate this stock. This used to be Colony Capital, and I got my clock cleaned in Colony Capital after Tom Barrick decided to make all sorts of mistakes. But Digital Bridge ended up buying Colony's assets, disposing of all the legacy real estate. They invest in digital infrastructure, so cell towers, data centers, fiber, small cells, everything that makes the new world work. All right. They do investment management, so they collect lots of fat fees, and they also invest on a balance sheet basis so that you've got direct exposure to all of these assets. So the stock is sitting here at 11. It's worth a lot more than 11 over time. The dividend's really, really small. It's going to get really, really big. If you look, JMP just put a $16 price target on it. Last year, Keith Boyette downgraded it to a $14 price target. I'll put a price target on. I'm going to own it for a really long time, and I won't sell it for less than 30. This is a big business with a smart guy running it. They're doing a lot of financing. They just bought Wide Open West to expand their fiber network. They bought what was the name of the company? They bought another company last year. But they're going to be huge players in not just building, but financing data centers. Most people don't stop to think about this. Financing, the actual lending of it, is going to be a huge business over the next several years in the credit market. So we're going to have the equity and the credit side all going for us here with Digital Bridge. So that's just 3. There's a lot more in there that you should probably go take a look at. But look, I cannot. They do a whole thing in this most recent one on the anti-index opportunity and how to exploit the inefficiencies of the indexes. They also make the point, and this one's great. Let me just see if I can get this real quick, Ryan. We finally got 25 years of history on most ETFs. Now, we all know the old story, right? Stock market plus or minus 10%. That's how much money you make when you put your money in the stock market.
Yep.
We all know that story, right? You know how many ETFs over the last 25 years? And I'm talking the S&P 500, the dividend aristocrats, the core, the growth, the value, cut it, slice it, dice it, all the indexes that all the smart people have told you absolutely have to buy. Do you know how many have done 10%?
No, I don't.
None. Not a damn
I guess I
one.
could have guessed that the way you were setting it up.
There's 2 that have actually, but they're not part of the big central story. The S&P 500, S&P 400 value, deeply undervalued stocks, and gold are the 2 ETFs that have actually delivered on that, suggesting that maybe once the indexing story became accepted gospel, it didn't really work anymore. So
Okay.
just a thought. Anyway, read the Horizon Kinetics. Send me a birthday card, Christmas card, whatever it is. Pick up Ryan's steak dinner tab for me when the Cubs outplay the Orioles, whatever it takes, but you will thank me for it.
Cubs aren't outplaying anybody right now, but that's a sore subject. Real quick here. Eli is asking, is there any way to see Tim Melvin's current portfolio? Tim has a number of portfolios. Some of them are available in Edge as part of the Edge subscription. But what else, Tim? Where else can they find your portfolios?
Well, there's the Edge, but the Edge in the Perfect Stock portfolio, which we will be updating later today. We've got the Trade Alert and Trade Alert Accelerator product. The Trade Alerts is deep value and momentum in a combination portfolio. A lot of my best ideas are in there. And then Trade Alert Accelerator is the cool part. That's where Anne-Marie and I Anne-Marie, not I introduce Anne-Marie, sit back and listen with everybody else as she creates option strategies around the core portfolio. Then we also have 2 others that you should know about. One is the yield report, which sounds like exactly what we're doing. We're looking for higher yielding stocks that we can own over a very long time. Then we have the Perfect Stock portfolio, also on Edge, that is just a collection of non-correlated ETFs that it's buy and forget, and walk away. It's for income, hands-off investors. We just updated that last night. And then we have the Banking on Profits report, which is my legacy small bank portfolio. And I don't care what I'm charging. I don't remember what I'm charging, but you should definitely be a member of at least 2 of those.
Okay. That's an awesome ringtone. Didn't have that one on my bingo card, but Tim, really good stuff. Yep.
Housekeeping. My granddaughter gets here on Saturday.
Okay. Congratulations.
She will be here for a week, which means, you know where I will not be next Wednesday?
Here.
I will be at the amusement park, probably breaking bones or some other, really cool injury because I'm too old to be riding that garbage, but I will be. So that's
Tim, one of the things that we say here, health is wealth. So your health always comes first, and also your family always comes first. No problem, my man. I'm taking some time. You're taking some time. It's the summer. No problem. We'll get you back on as soon as you're back.
Right. I took too long. I ate up 13's time. You guys go get this market open.
It's okay. I also want to highlight something that Tim said yesterday. I've never heard this before, but I'm going to reuse it. Tim said, quote, "My wife is preheating the credit cards," end quote. And I about died of laughter. That was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Tim, thanks very much. Have a good one. We'll see you not next Wednesday, but a week from Wednesday. Right. Take care.
Guys, have a great week.
That is Tim Melvin. Really good stuff from him. Fast, right to the point here. He's always going to give you some of these good long-term plays. Really good question. Eli, if you need help, someone on our team like James can talk to you about all of Tim's different portfolios. Again, as I always say, if you're asking for more than one service, ask the person you're talking to about a discount because you'll probably get it. Just a pro tip there. Okay, with Tim Melvin's departure, we are a little bit behind. Let's bring on 13. 13, look, I'm sorry that we have a little bit of a truncated timetable here today, but I know you can handle it.
Yeah, it's all good. Whenever Tim keeps talking, I'm just like, all right, well, I'm still doing research and I'm just listening.
All right. Is there any that you want to start with here? We can actually attack this movers list in reverse. If there are ones that you'd prefer we start with, let's do that.
Whatever you'd like. I mean, we can start with BSLK.
Well, you're just making me make all the decisions. All right, we'll start with BSLK here. This is Bolt Project Holdings. Bolt Project Holdings shares are trading higher after the company reported year-over-year increase in Q2 financial results. You see, we actually popped up here to about 3 yesterday. We broke that off here today, made a move towards 4, couldn't hold it, but we'll see if that's if we're still able to do that here. Let me take a quick look at the report and see if there's anything that jumps out here. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I'll wait for you to break that one down, but it does thankfully look like sales are up pretty massively here. Oh my God. Look at a quick look at the short interest here. 10.28% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 2.3 mil. Today we've traded 31 mil. Float is 1.73 mil. 13, what do you think here on this one?
Well, this one, in addition to the earnings report, I kind of went into this a little bit to see what this company is about. They are a developer of biomaterials for the beauty and personal care industry. And what's interesting is that they are working on they have a product called Vegan Silk Technology Platform, where they're making these types of polymers that are used in makeup and other beauty products that are biodegradable and more that are safer for humans. These are that's why it's vegan. It's not derived from animals or tested on animals. But this is interesting because we're seeing some reformulation across the beauty industry with the types of materials they use in their products. So this company is a little bit interesting in that sense. They do have some pretty big players. They said they have about 70% of the industry revenue that's controlled by major beauty conglomerates, that they're working with. So they do have some pretty good exposure to this, but it's taking some time. Now, some things of concern. They did receive a NASDAQ notice yesterday. I didn't see that on our news feed, but in the report here, they said that they received one. So that was a little concerning. I think they also mentioned that they they have enough capital through their financing, what's the word they use, activities that are going to be completed in this quarter. But up until at that point, then they may have to raise again. So that's something to keep in mind, that they are going to do an offering, probably not today, but in the future, maybe later this quarter or next quarter. As far as levels go here, we did trade this before. So I do have levels from the last time we did that. We are trying to come off the 65 EMA on the 5-minute chart and recapture VWAP. But $4 to $4.30 has been a bit of a resistance range, and had those levels out since the last time we traded this. Let me just open up this chart a little bit more here. This can go. This was much higher when we were trading it last. It was above $5. It's since come down, and it has found some support around 175. It looks like we could be headed. We're headed back there until we got this earnings report today. That's taken us back over the 65 EMA on the daily chart, back up into this lower end of the range that we were trading in last time we touched this. So from here, if we do end up recapturing VWAP and going higher and getting back over 430, we have resistance areas at 550, and 625, and more going higher if we end up going up that direction. But first things first, let's see if we can get that recapture of VWAP. That's going to be the thing that I'm going to be looking for. Hopefully that bounce out the 65 EMA here in the 5-minute chart provides that.
Okay, perfect. Really good breakdown. Next one here is MNTS. This is the one that's really been having momentum, if you will. Momentous, of course, has momentum. It's had it really all morning here. We actually just broke that pre-market high and pushed higher here on volume too. Momentous shares are trading higher after the company was awarded a NASA contract to study flying foundational robotic technologies into space. I got to be honest with you, that's a pretty cool headline right there. That gets the inner nerd in me pretty fired up. Study to fly, foundational robotics. Let's see if there's anything else in here. No, nothing else. I have to go through the PR. Maybe you did that. Yeah. Stock is up 67% here today. Quick look at the short interest, 9.25% of the float shorted with 1.99 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of 1.19 million. Today, we've traded just shy of 60 million. Float here just shy of 7 million. What do you think? You think we got more on this one? It's already moved pretty good.
This is actually one of the ones that's on the space watch list.
Yep.
And they already have a number of companies they work with. I took that page down that showed which ones they had they're working with. From memory, they do work with SpaceX. Obviously, NASA. They have another contract here with them. I believe I saw that they worked with Lockheed Martin, Sidus Space, and a couple of the other space names that we have on the watch list. So they are getting business. The company does need cash, though, so they could raise possibly as early as today. Now, we are still trading up, and this is having some pretty good momentum in the pre-market here, but we are looking like we're getting a little extended up around 2. So let's see what happens as we come towards the open and where we're trading at that point. If we have continued to run up here, I think that we probably want to just wait for the open to happen, let it come in a little bit, and then let it set up a trade. But Momentous only with a let's see here, 6.9 million shares in the float. Shouldn't be that hard to move around. We've got price targets going up into the 4s. So let's see what we end up getting here with this. But I'm not going to want to take a stab at this at the open because if it continues to run up into the open.
Okay, here we go. Smoke tuna. This is awesome. Don't expect the move to hold. Always take your gains. Always take your gains.
I agree.
Jaquimi, Ryan in 13, any word on ETH and do you own it? The word is that Ethereum is absolutely raging, and yes, I own it. And furthermore, I also stake what I own. So there you go, Jaquimi. Ethereum super hot. Ask Lion what he thinks about Ethereum. Okay, let me just keep moving on here. This looks like a takeover, right? Sapiens trading higher to acquired in a $2.5 billion deal, so no trade here, right?
I didn't look at this one, but it seems like that's the case here.
Yep, I was just teeing that up there for you. All right, next one here is going to be ATNF. This is 180 Life Sciences. This is from yesterday. Yep, we had a huge move here yesterday. 180 Life Sciences shares are trading higher after the company on Tuesday announced that it had launched its institutional Ethereum accumulation strategy. There you go, Jaquimi. So ATNF looks like this is pushing higher today. Let's see. Peter Thiel. Rally continues. This is just a news, like kind of a recap. Okay, so I don't think there's anything new material here. We are getting some continuation. It is up 42% here today. Quick look at the chart on this, though. Boy, oh boy, the impulse move was one thing, but we've really struggled to get above and stay above VWAP. So to me, this is going to be a key level without a doubt. Also looking at this $14 level, looks like it's found support twice here today. I would keep that on the docket as well. VWAP up here, 1561. Quick look at the short interest, 0.76% of the float shorted. This is pretty negligible. Nothing really going on here. Average volume for this stock, 6 million. Today we've traded over 19. Float is 149 and a half. 13, what do you think on this? ATNF.
Yeah, this one is on the heavier side of the float. I mentioned that yesterday and was pointing out how this might take a while or it's going to be very slow moving. Same thing with GEVO. We didn't really get to see all these big moves until, well, after the show was over. So unfortunately, we couldn't talk about all this as this was happening. But lo and behold, after that lunch hour, this thing really started taking off. One big reason why I like to have people keep these movers on their radar if they're trading later on in the day. You get stuff like this, and we've been seeing a lot of this happen lately with these movers that don't really do a whole lot in the morning, And then later on, they end up having a much bigger move. So it's always worth to keep these on your radar for a trade later in the day. Now, as far as what's happening here this morning, yeah, we had a really big move all the way up to 1924. And we have since come in, lost the VWAP. We are trying to recapture the 65 EMA on the 5-minute right now. But even that looks like it might have too much resistance for this to get recaptured. And we could be heading lower. Now, there is a bit of a support area that we tested earlier in the pre-market that's down at about 1380, 1375, 1380. So if we, and we're continuing to get a little bit of support, we just had it in the last candle. But if we drop beneath that, then we may end up coming down to test some of these other levels from the regular session yesterday. So I'd be looking at about 1275, 1280. And in the after hours, we have about 1190, and then the 200 EMA. So those would be the downside levels if we are going to continue to get this weakness into the open.
Okay, good stuff there. ATNF. Do you have any more on your list?
No, I don't. So we can look at whatever you guys want.
Okay, I'm just going to roll through a couple here. I'm going to do it quickly. VOR, this is VOR Biopharma, ticker VOR. VOR Biopharma shares are trading higher after the release of its Q2 financial results. Looks like we had a missed report here. They missed on EPS. Then we had a PR here this morning. One of its drugs achieved a primary endpoint in a phase 3 clinical study for primary Sjögren's disease with the name of the drug that I'm not even going to try, dual BAFF-APRIL inhibitor. Okay, so I'm not really, I'd have to go through this. Maybe we'll do that. PR here about one of its drugs at the conclusion of a phase 3 clinical study. Stock's up by about 30% here today. The notable thing about this, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think, well, you might have just about to get into it, but I think it's the short interest.
I was just about to get into it. So I think what's really going on here is this one has a gigantic short interest. Yeah. This actually ticked up between June and July and has actually kind of oscillated a little bit. It dropped a little, but it's actually gone higher here. This is the highest value that I see at 40.8% of the float shorted, 2.92 days to cover. On average, the stock trades about 18 million. Today we've traded 11.5 million. Float is 45.5 million. Do you have any other thoughts on this one?
I'm just looking at the, my broker, and it seems like right now it's having a bit of a struggle with 215, trying to recapture that after this drop that it's had. But let's just see what happens with the expansion of volume. It is trading right at my VWAP right now, so don't know if we're going to get this rebound or if we're looking at a bear flag that's starting to form right now. But as far as the float goes, a little on the heavier side. I've got in Pro, I've got a reading of 45. In my broker, I've got a reading of 70. So it's it should trade all right, but it's still on the heavier side. So I'm not expecting to just have these super wild runaway moves. You might get some pops, but they may be more muted because of how much of the float is. Now with the short interest, that could be completely not the case. That we just might continue to squeeze. So not really sure what to make of this right now. We might see some more of that short squeeze happen later today, but right now it's looking like that's having a really hard time with the VWAP. So I would just wait for this one to come in.
Okay, next one here on the movers list is ticker WBTN. This is Webtoon Entertainment. I can't recall ever looking at this before or trading this before, so I think this is a new one for me. Webtoon Entertainment shares are trading higher after the company announced a partnership with Disney to bring titles featuring characters from Marvel, Star Wars, Disney Studios, and 20th Century Studios to its platform. You can see here, stock was about $9 yesterday. We traded all the way up to 13.5 in the after hours yesterday. We've weakened a little bit here today. The volume has remained a little bit elevated, but we've moved beneath the VWAP and have not even really shown strength to recapture it. So that's going to be one of the things I'm going to look for here today. Short interest on this one, 17.84% of the float shorted and 13.8 days to cover. Now that comes on the pitiful average volume of 306,000 shares, but we've only traded 762,000 here today. Float 17.7. Any thoughts on Webtoon?
Well, it looks like they also had earnings yesterday, and they were really good earnings. I mean, they beat expectations. They guided higher.
They didn't lose money. They were anticipated to lose money, and they actually beat.
Yeah, exactly. So that's great. And now they are announcing a partnership with Disney. Well, let's see if they can revive the media that they're going to be bringing these characters to life through their business. We'll see if that happens. as far as where the stock is trading at right now, there's another one that's trading beneath VWAP. It doesn't seem like it's really got a whole lot of volume right now either. We might end up seeing a little bit of a slow leak here unless we get some volume expansions, because it's not looking like it's really doing a whole lot right now. I mean,
I agree with you completely. The actual price action, the recent price action, looks poor.
Yeah, so I would say that because we're headed down towards that 200 EMA on the 5-minute. That's going to be one of the earlier support areas, down about 11.55. But I don't even feel good about that holding up. Maybe there's a bounce coming there, but I'm not sure we're going to hold up here based on the way this volume is behaving.
Okay. Real quick here, Amanda, good morning. It's good to see you again. I think they did an all access with Dan. That's, of course, Webtoon, WBTN. You got a memory like a steel trap. I don't remember that. I'm not going to argue with you, though. You're probably right. In any case, a nice little pop here. We'll see if this gives another trade. Just kind of looking around here, X4, this really kind of ramped yesterday. This is another one of those plays where we talked about it in the morning, but we really got the good action in the afternoon. 13s kind of fit that thesis. Really quickly here, let's see what's going on. They closed an upsized $85 million private placement. That's what you're getting here today. Quick look at the short interest on this one. 14.4% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 2.3 million. We've traded 38.5 million here today. Float 7 million. You got any thoughts on XFOR here for another trade today?
Let's look at the chart, because I think we got some of the really good movement yesterday, and now we've got some other news about the company getting more money without diluting shares. So, I mean, if anybody wants to do some math or napkin math, they can figure out where this might go. But let's see, 388 being the high, that was in the after hours. No, I'm sorry, that was in the pre-market, right? Yes, pre-market. It looks like it's trying to recapture VWAP right now, and it's struggling. It's been spending the last 25 minutes trying to get above there. Failure to recapture that's going to lead to downside, in my opinion. So if we don't get above that by the time that we're open, I would think that we come down and test that 65 EMA, where we do have some support in the after hours from yesterday going into the close. So that's going to be at about 265. If we do not recapture the VWAP, that's where I would be anticipating the price to fall down to.
Okay, good stuff there in FXOR. BTAI, this is one that we have been talking about recently. This actually had a nice little dip and rip yesterday. This would have made a pretty good trade. I didn't trade this one, but congrats to anyone that did it. This is now curling up here. I really watched the $8 level, and then I trade that against the pre-market low. I don't know if you've got anything else on this. I did want to cover BMNR real quick. I know we're running out of time.
Okay, I'll just go over this one real quick. I'm just for my own, funsies, just drawing a trend line here from the high of yesterday through the high of the pre-market. And I'm looking at that trend line as a potential area where the price might run to if we can recapture VWAP. Obviously, right now it's trading beneath it, and it looks like it's we're getting a little bit of an acceleration to the downside, but that's okay. Let's see what we end up getting out of the open here, and if it can find some footing. Because if it turns around and starts going back above VWAP, this is the trend line I'm going to be looking at for a resistance area.
Okay, good stuff there on BTAI. BMNR, this has been another kind of a big one for us recently. It's provided a lot of action here. Shares are trading higher. The company announced it expanded the stack sale program to $24.5 billion for Ethereum purchases. Ethereum is raging, so I would expect BMNR to reflect that. This was a great trade, great action here, great calls from the chat yesterday. Maybe we get it again. We're actually testing the intraday high from yesterday right now. I've got the next level up here, 69.88. You want to call it 70 on the dot? I think that makes a lot of sense, but it's more fun to say 69. Nice. So we'll see what happens here with the price on BMNR, but this also curling here in the pre-market.
Do me a favor, draw a trend line from the high on Monday through the high in yesterday, and then just keep it going and see how we also connect with a high that we made at around 7:15 before we broke out of it at 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
and we're still trading above it. So this looks like it could be a break over a trend here. Now, if we do come back in, I'd be looking at this trend line as support, but we haven't gotten that pullback yet. So we'll end up seeing if we get that out of the open. But this trend line also going to be in play here, in my opinion, for at the very least to balance at the greatest support.
Okay, really good stuff there. Couple of things. Trout Bum asking if Andis is going to recover. I don't think it's going to recover today. If it did, that would be wild. But I think long term, like I had said earlier, I think this is probably a good thing. It's just really just the timing sucks. There's just no way around it. Give us 24 hours, like I said. We did get some more news here that they priced the offering. So it looks like they offered it at $325. That's probably your bottom. The stock did bottom out already here in the pre-market and recaptured VWAP, so maybe that'll be pretty good. They also said that they're going to do $150 million. Now, yesterday when they proposed this, they mention in here just a little. I know I'm running out of time here real quick. They mentioned that on April 18th, they filed, or excuse me, related to the shares that was filed with the Securities Exchange Commission on April 18th. So although they said size not disclosed yesterday, they told you when they initially filed for this. So guess what we can do because we've got Benzinga Pro. You guessed correctly. We can actually go back to April 18th. We can look at that form itself. Let me find it here. Here's the Form S. And what happens in the Form S? I believe it says right at the top here. Where was that? Where's that? It's that third paragraph, right. Here we go. Here is your size, 225 million. They did 150 million of it today. They still have some more to do here. Keep that in mind. We are open.
Yeah, and we did come down to where that January, late December support was in ONDS. In the pre-market here. So that was a pretty good area of support. I still think it's going to behave as support if we go back down there again in the regular session.
Okay. 13, I really have to go to the washroom. So I'm going to leave MNTS on the screen here as you run down some of the opening print movers. I will be right back.
All right, folks, we have BSLK. That one's fallen out of the 65 EMA support going into the open here, but it is bouncing down around at the 325 area, just a little bit shy of that 200 EMA. This is still looking for some support that could potentially kick in here in the 315 to 18 area if we get some more pullback. But that 200 EMA on the 5-minute also area of support that I'd be looking at. MNTS, this also leaking out of the open here, as we were kind of discussing about how this has been running up into the open. Kind of expected that this will see some selling out of the gate here, but we'll just wait for some footing to get established here, and then this will probably start to trade better. ATNF, here we go. This is slowly trying to move over the VWAP here and get through this consolidation that we've been in the pre-market. This consolidation, most of it ends at about 1650. You got a few prints just slightly above that from this consolidation, and then you have the highs that was made from the impulse move that took it up to 1924. So just need to get to this consolidation. Still have a little bit of a struggle with that right now. If we do end up going to the downside and losing 1380, which has been kind of the support of this consolidation, then we're going to be looking at that 200 EMA on the 5-minute, just like the last one. VOR also coming in. WBTN. This is kind of blasting off right now.
That sure is.
Just hit 14. So move through all the pre-market highs. Let me see if I can get an idea of where this is probably going to end up going here. It looks like there might be some resistance. Actually, we may have just hit some of that resistance. It looks like 1469 could be a potential area of resistance, and we're almost there. So if we don't get through that, maybe even 1475, looking a little bit further to the left. And if we get through that, then we might be able to go on a bit of a run here up to 1750, as there was a big drop between that 1475 and that 1750 area back on August 9th of 2024. So happy anniversary.
Okay, American Eagle, this is spiking out of the gate here. Let's see, MNTS, this going for your 2 test, maybe, MNTS.
There we go. And, oh yeah, all right, here we go. We're about to tap 2 here. Large amount of sellers at 2. Let's see if they can get chewed up and blast through that $2 wall.
I was going to say, you think we break through that at all?
It just, let's see what we get here. There we go. We're chewing through it. It's taking it. There it goes. So 203 now, the high.
Right through. Nice job.
They might try to reload this, so let's see how much more we get. But if they continue to push this up, I have 235 is the next potential resistance area.
Trimmed a little bit of rocket right there on this pushback up. That's RKT. Trimmed some more of those calls as this is gapping right out of the or trading up right out of the open. Ondis is bouncing and closing that gap. That would be delicious.
And we have a gentleman asking about Webull. Let's see, this is just kind of swinging in both directions this morning out of the gate here. Went down to 1550, turned around, went up to 1605, or maybe it was the opposite. I'm not sure. But this just put in a new session high. It's printing higher than it was yesterday, but not higher than it was Monday. Monday we actually went to 1641. Full disclosure, I am in this one. I've been trading this one to see if we can get this absolutely wonderful mirror image of the whole downside in the stock. Let's see if we can get to repeat that on the way up. So far, behaving pretty well. Looking for $18 in this one. Don't know if we'll get that today or not, but looking for 18. And if we can take out 18, I think we'll see 20. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here with Bull. Just kind of exercise some patience, waiting for us to recapture that $16 level and start closing above it. Since we've got a couple of rejections here this week and last week, so just waiting for some closes above 16. That should help us take us up to 18.
Okay, really good stuff there. EKS, this was we didn't have nearly enough time to shout this out, but you had mentioned prior to the market opening, hey guys, the selling might be done or exhausted a little bit here in Kava, and this might bounce. And boy, oh boy, bro, you've got like 3 or 4 points on that. This was a money call. I'm sorry I didn't highlight this EKS because we just had a lot to do here today. Good on you, though, and thanks for throwing that in the chat. A reminder, you guys can always participate in the chat and do that. Really awesome stuff there, EKS. Kava, nice move out of the open. I'm not in this, but a nice move nonetheless.
And, just out of my own curiosity, what's the profit-taking target that you have? Is it when we're coming back up to some of these support areas that the price was trading at from pretty much all year, ever since the Liberation Day unwind? I mean, we have the April 7th low. We have this June 20th low. Those are going to be at about $70 to 72. Kind of wondering if that's the area you're looking to take profit, or if you think it goes like back up towards the 50 and the 500-day SMAs. Let me know.
Yeah, and you were asking EKS, right? Just to be clear on that. Yep, perfect. I'd like to know that too. Like I said, monster call out of the gate here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, with the offering on Ondis, everything has gone great since that thing bottomed, especially with Rocket now really kind of helping here. IPWR also helping. We'll see. That reports earnings, I think, tomorrow, doesn't it? Let me check really quick. I'm nervous about this, 13. I'll tell you what, I am nervous. Yeah, they report tomorrow before the market opens. Oh, God.
WBTN. This selling a little bit, but getting some support from the VWAP. We'll see if we end up getting some kind of bullish formation out of this. But right now, it's looking okay, holding above the VWAP. But I'm going to just wait and see what happens here.
Anne-Marie from the top rope with an elbow to the dome. 79 in Kava shows the highest volume daily candlestick formation. Kava actually just recaptured 70 right here. So maybe that is one of your targets there, 79.
We have a bit of a trend line here in ATNF that we can use to infer if we're going to break out or get rejected here. So far,
I see it, bro.
So far, it did print over it, but it's not able to capture it yet. We do have about 2.5 minutes left in this 5-minute candle, so we'll see if we can get above this in that time frame. If not, then just have to wait this out. But we may be trading into a descending triangle if we cannot break out of this. So something to watch for here with that one.
Kava just took 71. EKS, what island are you buying, and can I visit it with you? What a call. What a call from EKS here on Kava right out of the open. Frankly, he gave the call prior to the prior to the open in the pre-market. Really, really awesome stuff. Amanda says, I'm out of the PanW long. Did PanW get an upgrade this morning, Amanda? They report earnings in 5 days. I understand why you want to be out there. Positive networks. No, I guess they didn't. I could have sworn I thought I saw PanW. Maybe I'm confusing that with something else.
We're getting a little pull here in MNTS. That just popped up to 218, and now we're coming back underneath the VWAP. ATNF.
Yesterday. Sorry. Yesterday, we got a neutral rating from UBS, lowered price target to 185. Okay. Sorry, 13. Didn't mean to run you over there.
No problem. Hold on a second. I think Google thought I was talking to it.
Oh, I was like, that's either Squawk or the TV, but nope. It's the AI.
Yeah. I'm not talking to you. Anyway, so I'm looking at X4. This is looking like it's trying to take out that 340 area that it's been struggling to get above in the pre-market here following the impulse move. It's still got a bunch of sellers in the way at 335 and 340. We'll see if we can continue to get volume to expand and take those sellers out.
You said where were the sellers at? 335?
335, 340 to 342. They have a large concentration of sellers. So
okay.
They've been suppressing this 340 area following the loss of that impulse move this morning. It's also, well, it's trading above VWAP right now, but this 340 area.
It's right back onto your 335 spot there. It actually looks like this is an iceberg. I wonder if this pops if it goes through here, 335.
I want to say it might, but the volume isn't looking like it's where it needs to be in order to get above it. I mean, they're really starting to reload this area too.
Yeah, I mean, boy, there we go. Popping and through. Let's see if this has some continuation here on XFOR. 350 is going to be your next spot on XFOR. We'll see if we get it there.
They're chewing at the 340.
They sure are. There we go. Okay, good stuff there. Good stuff on that.
Now let's see if
we can
scalp
on that. That'll do.
Let's see if we can get this move through the trend line in ATNF.
All right, let me bring ATNF on the screen here. Boy, I feel like today, is it just because it's a synthetic Friday and I'm all excited? Is that what's going on here? Someone said I was too wound up to drive a golf ball. Oh, no, that is not the case. I can confirm.
He's going to Happy Gilmore that shit.
No, yeah, it's actually me and my golf buddies, we call it a full Bryson. So when you're really, really excited and you've got all this energy, you want to breathe deeply over and over again, get all that working, keep yourself moving, and then bang, as soon as you hit that, you should make tremendous impact, get a little bit of extra on the drive there. Done it. Doesn't always work, but I've done it.
And looks like they just absolutely pulled X4.
Yep.
They reloaded it.
Yep. So that's one of the reasons. So really quickly here, 13, sorry again for interrupting you, but that's one of the reasons why I call out some of these iceberg spots, because even if we pop through that, if the price comes back down to it, you might see another reload of stock there. I think that's exactly what happened here on XFOR.
Yeah, we're also trying to get some support in the VWAP for MMTS, but that still is struggling with holding two. And if we do get go higher here, which here we go, we got some concentration of sellers at 210, which is where we're hitting right now, and then 220 after that. Probably one of the reasons why we couldn't go any higher than 218.
Yeah, and Anne-Marie, you're right. Bryson's stroke it's incredible. I watched that and I'm like, oh, it reminds me of the Caddyshack where Bill Murray's like, yeah, he's about, 234 yards. He's going to use a 9-iron. And it's like Bryson actually does that. It's like insane how far he hits the ball. Anyway, MNTS, really good stuff here. We'll see if we end up popping through the high. What other setups do we have?
I'm just looking around and I'm not seeing too many. Like ATNF doesn't look like it has. It looks like this is getting more of a rejection at this point right now. Lost the VWAP in the process here. We do have that support down around 1380 to 14. So if it does come back down, we'll see if that can stop it from selling. BSLK also going lower. MMTS trying to pop up to that 220 area I just mentioned not that long ago.
Yeah.
VOR. Kind of watching this one. It's still beneath its VWAP, trying to struggle to get above it. I don't see great volume, but we could see this change in an instant. They are loading a lot of sellers at the 210 and 220 area. I had to look and make sure that wasn't another one, the same one I was looking at earlier. MNTS, here we go. This is the one that's about to take 220. And there we go.
I'm not in this one. I'm just kind of watching here with the group.
235 is the next resistance area. Followed by that is 260.
I'll tell you what, looks like you guys hooked one here on MNTS. Grats to anyone that's trading this. I'm going to not let my FOMO screw anything up here today.
Hey, I mean, if you're about to leave the market for the week, don't force anything, man.
No, exactly. Look, I'm not opposed to day trading here at all today. but I really don't want to like kind of ruin my day.
Yeah.
And I'm already staring at a pretty big red number because of the on this pullback, although that's being pared back tremendously. Thank you, Rocket.
I'm also looking at WBTN. This is still holding above its VWAP. We might be getting a bull pennant here. So watching to see if we do end up getting an increase in the volume and end up start trading up over 1550. 1569 is the high of the regular session. I'm looking for the 1550 area because we don't have any closes above that yet. I want to see it close above 1550.
Interestingly enough here, UMAC, Unusual Machines, they have earnings tomorrow after the market closes. This is another name in the drone theme here. And we recently took out this 1095 line that we have drawn here on the chart. This actually looks all right. I would not, if I traded this, I would absolutely be out prior to the earnings. There's just no way. I don't know enough about this to sit through another micro cap drone earnings here. But in any case, this actually setting up maybe for a move today.
BM&R, it's just getting some big movement here. I think we have a spike in volume. It just dropped down to the 65 VMA and bounced. It's trying to recapture the VWAP right now. A little bit of a spread here, looking like about 30 cents on the spread. So it's, be careful with BM&R.
Digital, yeah, UMAC, they make parts for drones. Okay, so maybe they're drone adjacent, Ryan. That's a good clarification. The Digital Dino saying Chewbacca sound requested, question mark. Well, since you asked so politely, I got you, buddy. PD Cat says, just buy a tech stock now and sell it at noon. You're good. That's actually rather amusing. Tesla, by the way, I know we hadn't really looked at Tesla. Tesla's ripping out of the gate here. Oh, and Lion, if you're still out there, I did see your comment earlier while we were talking. Yes, I am quite happy about the Ethereum move. Yes, you are correct. And I know you are too, boss. Here's Tesla above the trend line that we had recently identified. I think I've got 357 and 365 next on Tesla, TSLA.
My next level is 360. There might be some other ones in the way. They're like 355. I see how that does stand out, but 360 is the one I've had here for a while. So we'll see if we get that or not. As far as that trend line, we may have a little bit of a variation in how it's drawn because I'm still trying the price on my chart is still trying to get above that trend line. But I think for you, it's just trying to hold it.
I'm seeing more rocket calls here. These are the 2420 calls. Is that even a thing?
Squeeze me home.
Yeah, 2420. Yeah, they are a thing.
ATNF. ATNF might get the breakout here. We are getting some support of the 65 EMA. I'm seeing a little bit of an increase in the volume. We're coming up to 518 where there's a seller in the way. Let's see if we can take that out.
I'd love a break through this trend line.
That'd be
so
cool.
We're stopping right at the VWAP here. I've got VWAP in my broker at 1526, and I've got it at 1535 here in TradingView.
I got mine at 1492 when Columbus
sailed the ocean blue. Let's go.
Jeez. Oh man, how did we do that? Anyway, so that's ATNF. We're waiting to see if we get a breakout there. BSLK, this is not really gone anywhere except down.
Oh.
But it is. What's up?
ATNF. I'm watching the level 2 here. It went right to the broker's VWAP and backed out. I'm not in this, so I don't have a trade on this. I was watching it, but boy, that moved quickly there.
We're getting a move over it.
There it is. Oh man, I'm a little too slow on that one. 13 monster call though. That was I had asked you for setups. 13 delivered with a setup.
I want to see more of this. Yeah. I'm getting more of it now.
I'm not going to chase this though. Damn it. This was really good. Right on that trend line, right on that 1526 VWAP. Nice little move there.
All right. So there goes that one.
Bitcoin right up here at about 121K on the future. Someone mentioned that Amazon was ripping. Indeed, that actually was straight up out of the gate. Izzy, we didn't get a dip to buy on Amazon there, unfortunately, but a nice power move there out of the gate.
All right, so next one, MMTS, that almost hit our 235 next resistance area. We got up to 233. We're backing off a little bit now, but still trading above VWAP. So I think as long as we continue to hold there still is a possibility of going higher. But that's in question right now as we get a little bit of selling pressure.
That's on MNTS. Okay, really quickly here. The Digital Dino says, someone asks if there's trading on the show, and I say almost always. So yes, there's always trading on this show, but 13 and I do this a little bit differently. We are not here to try and tell you that we're going to tell you what to trade. What?
Sorry, BMNR, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we just got a big bounce off 65 EMA.
We're not going to sit here and tell you what to trade, which is why we're kind of putting this in your court. We're calling what we're seeing here. We're calling setups here, but it's not up to us to trade for you. So, again, I'm not saying, yeah, we're entering right here and we're hoping to sell right here. In some cases, maybe that's a little bit more clear. But ultimately, at the end of the day, one of the things that we want you to understand is that trading is a you thing, and it's really you that's going to make it successful. We're not going to be able to do it for you, and I think that's important. ATNF, this was a monster. 13, great job.
And here we go with WBTN. We just got a little bit of a bounce off the 9 EMA on the 5-minute that helped recapture the VWAP, and we went a little bit higher than the last candle, but it seems like we're slowing down at about 15. We get to about 15, but that's, I was hoping for a little bit more there, but I'm not sure how much we're going to get out of WBTN. Maybe we see a little bit more volume expansion in just a bit here. It's holding up VWAP, so that's encouraging.
Real quick here, Billy saying AN, he means ATNF. Look left on the daily chart. Yeah, good call. Look at this. This high print here, this is definitely going to be a level here. I've got this at what? 1775. There it is, Billy. That's a really good mention there.
Well, you got to understand too. We also blew past it in the pre-market. We went up to, I believe it was, wasn't it 19 or is that
19 and change? Absolutely, 13.
So yeah, I mean, we're that 17 level. Absolutely, keep an eye on that. I also think that
1944 is the exact number, by the way.
Oh, you have 1944. Okay,
I do.
1924.
Yeah. So, well, here let's fact check it, or at least the way the candle is drawn. This does say 1944, and the crosshair puts us right there. That looks like it.
Okay.
And actually, my broker confirming that 1944 your high print here.
So it looks like I would kind of be leaning more on the closer high that we just put in pre-market with around 740. That was 1678. Ryan, you might have a different number, but let's say 1675. That's going to be the next resistance area from here, in my opinion. And if we get through that, then I'd be completely 100% on board with that 1775 level, and then the 1944 afterwards.
Okay. Baba here. I noticed a couple of call buys here on Baba. These are the 130s for October, the monthly contract. Baba here actually had a pretty good day yesterday. This gapped up again here today, tried to run out of the open, but pulled back. I'd be curious to see if this can recapture VWAP here, 127.09.
All right. So watching BSLK for a turnaround here. Looks like it's trying to, but not too confident yet that we're getting that turnaround yet. It could still continue lower. MNTS starting to put in a series of upper shadows. Let's be a little bit careful with this. This might be signaling some topping out here for the time being.
Okay.
ATNF still pushing higher, looking for 1645. There's a seller in the way there, but after that, we're going to be hitting that 740 pre-market high.
No, Crocodile Dumb Me saying we're always careful to not tell people what to buy. And really quickly, one more thing to add to that. I do not consider myself a trading expert. Anne Marie, I'm sorry for bringing you into this. But I believe I view Anne Marie as an expert. My expertise is in Benzinga Pro. Now I'm trying to trade just like you guys, but I don't feel right calling myself an expert. So we do things here a little bit differently. Now, the answer to your other question here, have you had any complaints? No. In fact, we've had an overload of positive feedback from the group here. That tells me that we're correctly over the target.
I've been in groups before that have, shown all the trades and everything, and it has not worked well. So I don't like it.
The reality is that everyone trades a little bit differently. And my focus here is on you understanding the process, understanding the trigger, understanding what it is that kind of puts these things on the radar, because I want you to be able to do that yourself. This is also something that I battled. I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to follow someone that's extremely successful and I'm going to be a millionaire. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. It's not that easy.
Nope. We encourage education. We encourage learning how to do this.
Absolutely.
And
Zane is exactly right. After this discussion is a perfect time to hit the like and subscribe button. Well done, Zane.
Why did what not work well, JJ? What are you referring to? Which ticker was I talking about? BMNR just hit 70.31. So here we are, right back at those highs from Monday. Actually, just took them out. And this was the whole reason for drawing that trend line.
I have the trend line that originated on Monday that went through yesterday. I didn't draw this new one. I think I did it in the movers tool, not here. But so The next spot here really looks to be this high from Monday. And that's what we tested and stopped at. That's going to be one of your spots here.
Let's see.
That's right, Tuna. You're right about that.
Looks like 75 is going to be another resistance area. That I'm drawing on some levels back from 2021. We do have this big move that BMNR had that took it up to 161. There's if you go to smaller time frames and you look for areas in there, I'm sure you'll find plenty of resistance and support levels. But I'm just looking at the daily, and it looks like 75 might be the next resistance area, just based on that the price action from 2021.
Appreciate this here real quick. Buglog saying, I just got filled for all my shares of BLSH. That's the bullish company that's IPOing today. That's Tom Farley, who's the CEO of that. 37 per share. You got that from Robinhood. Okay, so this is unlike Figma, where a whole host of you got one share. Buglog looks like you got your full allotment there. That's actually good to know. Let me know if anyone else is playing BLSH. I didn't sign up for any allotment of that. I don't know if I'll trade that here. I haven't really done well with IPOs. So probably stay away, but I'm just kind of looking at that.
Well,
Big Bear Hug, did you also get filled on that? Is that what you're saying? Same here? Sorry, 13, go ahead.
Looks like that WBTN, that bullish formation was correct here. We held that VWAP. Now we're making new session highs, 1583 now. And let's see, where's the next resistance at? Okay, yeah, so this one I was talking about how once we get above certain levels here, looking to the left, we're going to be in an area where we had a big drop back in August last year. Prior to that, the low was 1752. So if we continue this run here, unless there's some selling like this gentleman that just stepped in at 1575, if we continue to move up, I'd be looking at that 1752 area. Let's call it 1750 as the next resistance area.
You guys are asking about how many shares are in the IPO here. Let's see. Offering value, that's the value. They're offering 30 million shares. Crocodile Dumb Me, 30 million in this offering. 30 million shares for a total of 1.1 billion.
ATNF coming back in towards VWAP and that trend line. So usually on these breakouts of these trend lines, sometimes they'll back test. Let's see if we can hold up here. We don't want to see this completely fall through and take out all these EMAs. If this is going to continue upwards, we're going to get a back test and we're going to find support about here. And WBTN 1584 before backing off now. Looks like we're getting a lot of these to back off right now. BMNR with a big old red candle here.
Deswan, appreciate this. Adding my testimony, started trading 2 years ago. I went from zero knowledge to dropping a second job and moving to part-time on my main job. The next goal is the full-time trader. These two are real and help. I appreciate that a lot. You're definitely going to get realism from us. You're going to see the bad and the good. You're not going to hear about Lambos and Ferraris. You're going to hear about stock education here. Also, I like what you're doing there. I was guilty of this. I saw a little bit of success early in my trading career, and I said, bye-bye, 9 to 5. And I quickly got humbled and realized I needed that to actually supplement the trading income. So I like your thought here of maybe paring it back, getting to a point where you feel comfortable with all of that. Good luck on your journey. It sounds like you're doing really well here.
JJ, I think we were referring to
Amanda.
What didn't work well was when you're first of all, there's a delay between what's actually happening on the person you're following screen versus what you can actually do on yours. So right there, you're already behind. Second, usually in these rooms, a lot of people really do need their handheld, and that was at that point at one time. And when you're asking questions and you're trying to figure things out in real time as trading is happening, it's a very bad recipe for losing a lot of money, because you're not going to get your questions answered. You're not going to be able to be told when to get in, when to get out, because they're also dealing with other people and talking to other chat members. So I think the best to me, I turned away from all those groups because they were just, in my opinion, money losing machines. And I started focusing on just my own trading. And that's what I think is important.
And look what you've become. Look what you've become from the beginning. Yeah, it's a process, though. It doesn't happen overnight. And I think you're doing a really good job of explaining that there.
I appreciate it. So, I just don't prefer those. And yes, look at VOR. This is great.
Day trader, take care of yourself. Thank you for the well wishes. Enjoy your weekend. And if I don't talk to you on Twitter,
go build America, day trader.
By the way, day trader, I upgraded my detailing game. I posted a picture of some of the new chemicals I use. You might like it.
Yes, smoke tuna, absolutely. If you need those rooms, you are lazy and you will lose your own money and make them rich.
Yep, that's exactly right. JJ here says, makes total sense. Got to learn on your own and then find your own angle. The other thing, JJ, I've met with you personally on the side here, and I learned from everybody else. You told me what you were looking for and how you kind of approach this, and I was like, that's a really good idea. And I think that's something else here. If you have a community where everyone is empowered, you're going to amplify what you learn. You're going to amplify different tools to put in your toolbox. That's why I like bringing on a guest like Tim Melvin, who's focused on value and long-term. And then the very next day, I bring on someone like Anne Marie, who's focused on options trading. I'm trying to give you that diverse toolbox.
I'm going to add to that, but first, BSLK is starting to get a little bit of volume expansion here. It just shot right back up to VWAP. It's looking like it's trying to take that out, but let's see what we end up getting here. Gosh, I had the point that I was going to make about what you just said. It'll come back to me.
Okay.
So yeah, because that's not important, right? What's important right now is what's happening here in the market, because we just had that big move in BSLK. Let's see if we get something else here, like ATNF that did back test that trend line. Let's see this volume expand and take us to a new session high. VOR, that's one we were just looking at. The pre-market high on that one is 243. So if we continue grinding up, we'll probably end up seeing that. But there are a lot of sellers in the way up to that level. So keep that in mind. Gosh, I was going to make a good point too, but it'll come back to me.
Yeah, Tess, I love this. And I will reiterate this anytime. Smart advice here this morning. Education, paper trade, find your own edge. I'm a seasoned full-time trader and I'm always learning. That tells me that you're successful, because if you have an open mind and you're always learning, you're getting better every single day. Thank
you, Tess. That helped remind me. Discipline. Trading discipline is something you're going to really want to develop on your own. And it took me years, by the way. It's there's almost nobody. I mean, I'll probably just go and say nobody that doesn't take a loss. Taking losses is part of trading. It's about not losing as much. Just don't stay wrong. And if there's certain rules that you can put in place for yourself to become a better trader, so that you can, not lose so much capital if something's not working out. So if you get yourself into a trade and you're thinking, okay, it's going to do this and this and this, and it doesn't, and you start to, it starts to go south on you and not be part of your trade plan, sometimes you just have to take the loss and move on and trade the next thing. And if you don't have a good day of trading, like after 3 not so good trades, great discipline is to just stop. That's your day. Come back tomorrow with a fresh mind and review your journal and find out what you did wrong that day. Keep a journal. There are a lot of different great things you can do as a trader to protect yourself and make yourself better. Keeping a journal is one, having rules for yourself is another, and making sure you maintain that discipline is the third. And keeping a journal can be very, very simple and cheap. You can export your trade history from your broker, and you can add a column in a spreadsheet and add notes about it. Bang, that's a journal. Yes, there are some fancy ones that you can pay for, and if that's in your budget, fine, but there are ways to do that a little bit more cheaply. Real quick here, we talked about Eat It this morning. This caught an upgrade here. Price target moved from 4 to 6. Eat It is screaming here out of the open, plus 24.5. Now, I'm not in this, but man, the volume looks good here. Gene Editor's moving. I almost wonder what some of the other ones are doing. Let's take a very quick look at NTLA, Intellia Therapeutics. This popped and came back a little bit, and obviously the golden goose in this one is going to be CRISPR, CRSP. That chart also looks similar. MNTS starting trying for that next push up to 335. High of the session so far is not 335, 235. The high of the session right now is 233. So if we get past 235, 260 will be the next upside target here. Looks like BTAI is trying to turn around and recapture VWAP. It's still trading beneath it, but it just showed some signs of a reversal here. Need to see better volume on this one though.
BTAI.
So we're looking a little slow right now.
Yeah, I don't see any great setups. Really quickly, while we're kind of waiting for something to set up here, Ondas, this did come back into the VWAP and held it here. So I would say on a move back, 377 is going to be a key spot. We'll see if we get back up there in Ondas. No new trades yet on Ondas. I will update you if I make any. I still have an open order to sell some more at 5. I don't think we're going to get there today, but I'll let you know if any of that fills or if I buy any more.
BSLK through VWAP going higher, looking for 4. MNTS still holding above VWAP, but looking like it's running out of steam. ATNF, this is still trying to move away from the VWAP.
How did Kava do after that first bump? I haven't seen EKS, so maybe he's on his way to the island. Okay, so it looks like Kava almost went up to that 72.16 level and kind of stopped there. We're flagging up here. We're doing a good job staying above VWAP, but I don't see a setup here on Kava.
I'm still leaning towards the support from earlier this year being a resistance area for the upside price action. Maybe I'm not correct about that because of how oversold this thing is, but I just have this suspicion that we're going to run into some resistance up in the low to mid 70s.
MSOS here. So Pretty Panda mentioned that Tilray, something's brewing here. This is moving on the whole reclassification of cannabis. MSOS is the ETF play for this. Really quickly, I did nibble a little bit on a long-term position here for CGC. I didn't buy a whole lot here. I just bought like a handful of shares, mostly to track. I will add if this kind of comes in, but I'm thinking that maybe if some of these things change here, CGC might be one of the first individual names to move. Remember, we already kind of traded MSOS on a really quick move. And actually, that reminds me, Felicia, are you out there? I don't know if Felicia's here in the morning show. I made some notes because Felicia had a really, really keen observation yesterday on the option chain for MSOS. Let me bring this up here real quick. We had talked about the option chain being incredible for MSOS yesterday, the October chain. In fact, it looks like there were a whole lot of readjustment here on that. There was a ton of volume. God, I didn't capture the strike. I have to guess the strike here. There was a ton of volume in the 4, 7, and 10 strikes for October. It looks like to me that they had a 4 to 7 spread on, and then when MSOS moved up, they rolled that into a 10, the 10 call for October. 35,000 in the open interest. That is the highest now. That is rolled up from the 4 strike that we looked at previously. So it still seems like the options are saying there's more upside in some of these pot names.
Speaking of pot names, BSLK, it's not a pot name, but it just blasted through 420. And maybe we'll see wisdom here in a second. But this thing is just having a nice 15 minutes here. Just ran up to 1440, putting in a new session high, now above the pre-market highs. You want to draw a trend line?
On BSLK? Yeah, I love trend lines. I think I see what you're talking about, too. I don't even think you need to. We can even start in the after hour. Oh.
I don't need to tell you anything anymore, do I?
No, son. No, you don't.
So yeah, if we continue running here and make it over 440, the high that we just put in, I think that trend line is going to be a bit of a resistance spot prior to getting to 550. So that's something I would keep an eye on if we're looking for some resistance areas. I think that trend line is going to act as one, and 550 would be after that.
ATNF on this little curl back did hold VWAP. Now, really, we need this to push above the recent high at 16.5. Yep. I don't know if it's going to get that, but it did hold the VWAP so far.
That'd be great. It'd be great if we could get that volume expansion. It's going to be about this volume right now because we don't have as much as we had in this in the open, and we are approaching that 10:30 time where volume does end up really leaving the market as people go have their little breakfast. I'm sorry, their lunch, their brunches, and talk about all the great trades they did this morning. And as we've seen frequently, they come back and more trading happens. So maybe we'll get some better action out of this after that. But for now, we still have about 20 minutes before the volume really starts to dry up.
Civi, this is a Tim Melvin pick. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. It's had a decent day yesterday. It's having another move out of the open today. Now, this found resistance right where it found resistance yesterday, where it backed off. So maybe watch for this level to clear. I would say 33 is next on CIVI. Excuse me. Don't see anything here in the options just yet. OKLO's kind of battling. Eat it 3 test coming.
Oh, look at that. ATNF pushing through 16. Let's see that 16, what is that, 1675, 1680. Let's see it next. Come on.
E-Rock mentioning that X4, yes, this did go back to VWAP and stopped right there.
We're going to see more volume in ATNF to get through the 1650 seller.
Yeah.
1650, I mean.
Looks like
Very
they stopped
spread.
it and pulled it back there. It is a little bit spready there. You're right.
Yep. But Webtoon, that's now making new session highs again.
Marcus mentioning Hood. You're not the only one. I think Barat mentioned this.
Yep.
Someone else mentioned Hood earlier. Let's see what whole.
I think it was Line Atlas that did.
All right. So where's the buy spot on Hood then?
Sorry, I was just looking at X4.
It's all good. I was asking rhetorically, frankly,
okay.
but where's the next buy spot here? 105, 106, 107?
Gosh, let me look at a larger time frame.
Right now, we're basically on the 9 EMA. The next is the 15 EMA. That's down at 107 and a half.
Well, the daily chart shows that we're trading into a rising wedge. So if we start to really get some selling to occur, I think that would be in line with the formation that we're getting here. We still have a ways to go before we break out of this pattern. We have to kind of lose $100. And then there's the 50-day SMA at 93.25. That also could be a brief area of support. But the way that these rising wedges typically resolve is the price will fall out of them, and then it'll find some support, back test the underside of the wedge before heading lower. So that bounce spot could be at about 94 or 93.25, where that 50-day SMA is. Could be right about in there. But like I said, we still have a ways to go before we get down there. We haven't even seen the break of the down of this wedge, this rising wedge yet. So we still could get some bouncing around here before that happens.
ATNF did try to go through 1615, but it pulled again. So I'd be careful on that one. Market is pulling here, according to Izzy. Yeah. Indeed, it is pulling across the board. Yep. Investors Arena wants to take a look at 4C. So that's CCCC. That is C4 Therapeutics here. This is curling back. Volume is kind of low. We really want to get this back to 280 here, right? If we look at the daily chart on this, I kind of want my bigger chart. Let me go to that real quick. It's going to lock up.
We just had a rejection at the 200-day SMA on Monday. Is that Monday? No, Friday. I'm sorry, Friday. Now we're getting support from the 20-day SMA. We'll see if that holds. Because if it does, then it sets us up to push through that 200-day SMA again. Looks like $3 could be a resistance area. And if we get through that, 4 certainly looks like one.
So here's what 13 is talking about. This is what I was trying to load. We got rejected at that 200. We held the 20. So I could make a case that this is going to return to that 200. No idea if it's going to be strong enough to close above it, though.
And even though the whole market's pulling, we still have WBTN pushing 16. ATNF also with I believe a new session high here. Yep.
And congrats to anyone that was trading WBTN today. Was too late on that one. That was a really good call. Several of you are mentioning Chewy. I'm not in this. How's it doing here today? Ooh, Chewy right up out of the gate. Let's take a look at the daily chart here on that. Did we bottom in Chewy? Did we bottom? Did we kind of make this the trend?
Ooh, let's see.
By the way, Big Ab's, the S&P futures went right to that $6,500 level. You were calling it live as it was happening, and it backed off that spot, bro. It went right there and backed off of it.
Jeremy, I think this would be a great opportunity for you to, record what you did with that BSLK trade and what you learned from it, and just kind of like, put some notes in your journal so that as you go on and you experience more of these trades opportunities with these movers, you can look back at what you did last time and look and see where what to do correct, because the getting shooken out too early is something that happens to a lot of us. And if you have if you record the levels of where your stop was and what you were doing, it really does help give you a better opportunity at trading more. What's the word I'm looking for? It'll just give you a better. I'm sorry, I can't think of the word, but it's gonna be helpful to you because it's data that you're relying on that's going to tell you what not to do next time, and that has given me more confidence in the past to go back through my notes, see where I went wrong, not make the same mistake again. But I don't want to just completely encourage you to go and just start taking other trades without reviewing the data that I'm encouraging you to build. So I think that if you got shook out too early, great opportunity to record this in your journal, review it, and try to make a better trade next time. I think it's a great opportunity you have here.
Learn from the lessons there. Really quick, Anne Marie mentioning ALB 1,700 calls for the 80 strike in September. The Benzinga Pro algorithm didn't catch that one, but it caught one similar. It caught the 85 call for September in 1,210 contracts, about a $500,000 bet there. You know what, Anne Marie? I almost wonder if that was part of a spread.
MNTS Big Knife, no halt. BSLK still above VWAP. ATNF trying to push higher. VOR losing VWAP. WBTN new session high 1627. We just started a new candle and we're still moving up. Sorry for the word salad. I was just trying to encourage that with that shakeout, Jeremy, that you record it and just look back at your data for in order to build up your trading capabilities.
Anne-Marie saying it looks like a calendar spread. Anne-Marie, I went to go check this. I think you're spot on with that. I don't, Thinkorswim is not listing a condition of these trades as a spread, but I see the 17,000 contracts in the September 80 call as you flagged. I'm also seeing 17,000 contracts in the January 85 call and 17,000 contracts in the January 105 call. So that's September 80 call, January 85 call, and January 105 call. All of them traded 17,000 contracts. You might be right there. Calendar spread on ALB. Someone is loading up big indeed.
MNTS, thank you for that mention on Webcoin. It was saying the financing news out. Momentus announces a warrant inducement transaction for $2.7 million in gross proceeds. Saying today they could raise capital as early as today.
Boy, Emery, you got me thinking I might go into the deal. The only thing there is that there was a ton of open interest in that September 80 strike, and it's up 22% here today. I almost wonder if that was a close and then a roll into the calendar.
Are we talking about Walmart or?
No, we're talking about ALB still.
Okay.
I'm still on this because I'm trying to decipher all of this. Emery, what do you think about that? You think they maybe closed part of that trade in the 80 call and rolled it into the January 85-105 spread? I'm just spitballing here. I have no idea if that's the case. Just kind of looking at the option chain there to try and decipher what's going on. By the way, that ATNF, that ripped. That went through that spot that we were talking about. I know I was kind of focusing on the ALB trade, but look, that actually broke that high and went higher.
Yeah, and then Momentous, got that. Yeah, so that's probably going to be off the table for trading. Maybe there's a bounce coming that it helps reverse and go higher, but it's not really giving me that impression right now. I think I just would be patient with this one if we're going to try and find a trade with this again. Meanwhile, it looks like a lot of these are really starting to come in. Looks like Bull did get a bounce around 108.14. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I was actually just pulling up Kava here. This actually looks like this might retry 72 there. Barat saying Kava going for a rip. Barat, maybe if this holds here and moves higher, we might actually see a pop above 72 there. Still a great call on by EKS here this morning. That thing was masterful.
So Master, 5-minute candles is what I learned on, and it's what I use. I've tried doing 1 minute and I've had okay success, but I feel like the time frame is a little bit too small for the way I trade.
Yeah, and I feel like the 1 minute chart for me puts me too much on edge. There's too much back and forth there. Lion, take care of yourself, okay?
Yeah, take care, Lion. And yeah, that's a good point, because I feel like the 1 minute chart will make you more susceptible to stopping yourself out a little too early.
No question, zero question about that. And I've done it. I mean, I've literally been there.
Some people, different time frames, have them trade different ways. I've seen a lot of people use 15 minutes and 30 minutes and 1 hour charts, and they trade that way. Some people use 3 minutes and 1 minute, and I'm sure they're probably either having more coffee than me or not as much. ATNF 1719 is the high right now. We're above that 740 high. Looking at that, I think Billy had mentioned that level we were looking at in the 17s. Let me just double check what that was. 1775, that's right. So we're still beneath that, almost up there. Looking at a seller in the way at 1725. He looks like he's about to get deleted. And there he goes.
Man, I'll tell you what, this ATNF, this is moving here. I wanted to take a look at this for Kathy. Kathy saying thoughts on COHR earnings play. It's the same industry as APH and LASR. These do lasers for industrial applications here, components, devices, optoelectronics, industrial communication and electronic and instrumentation markets. I got to say, on the back of like the whole AI tech theme here, this is probably good, but I don't follow this company. Earnings are after market closes today. I don't have enough of an angle on this to say that this is a buy or not for earnings. Kathy, I guess I'd like to hear a little bit more about what you think on this one, but
COHI, is that what that is?
COHR, coherent. A little bit of a pullback today after being higher in the pre-market. We basically pulled back to the consolidation area from yesterday.
Pull back from all-time highs. Wow, this weekly chart is interesting. Ever since that April Liberation Day unwind, this thing has been having one heck of a rally. Interestingly, and I really like how this stands out, once this rose up to the 50-week SMA, it spent, a couple of months, almost 2 months, trying to get through that moving average. So if this does come back in, that 50-day SMA is going to be a pretty interesting support moving average. Now let's see what's going on with these movers here. Looks like we're still getting BSLK to hold above the VWAP. Looking for another return up to 440. That'd be fantastic. But we are just beneath 4 at the moment. MNTS, I know we said we wouldn't. This would be done. We're probably not going to look at this one, but just kind of put it out there that 160 is probably the next support area. And then you have the 65 EMA on the 5-minute chart beneath that. But this appears to be over for now. ATNF still looking to go higher than 1745. 1775 was that one level we were looking at. Afterwards, we're going to be at 1944. That we'll be looking at if we can get above 1775. VOR, this has lost its VWAP, coming down to some of the session lows here. The low of this current session is when we opened We went down to 198, and that's about where the or pretty close to where the 65 EMA is. That's that value is at 195. So if we continue lower, little range there between the 65 EMA and the low of the session might be where support could kick in. Something to watch for.
Eat it here. This is now at 3 on the back of that price target adjustment that it got here today. No position for me, and I'm certainly not going to chase this move, Blazed Rhino, but this is pretty good looking in terms of the price movement, plus 35%. We're also seeing a whole lot of buying volume in here, and it's been expanding from the open. So Eat It looks good. My issue with this one, can't chase this move. Maybe if this comes back in and holds 280, that's going to be about where your VWAP's at. Maybe we can load for another afternoon trade here on Eat It. But again, this moving on the price target adjustment. BSLK Blastoff says tuna. Indeed, this is going for the trend line that you outlined, 13. This is going to hit it.
Perfect. Excellent. I was also just looking at.
Good morning, Jay. It's good to see you.
BMNR. This is it's spready, but it's rising back up to its VWAP. We're looking for a recapture here. BTA high that just popped up to pretty close to where the open of the session is. Backing off though, coming down to the 65 EMA. Let's see what else. Waiting to see if VOR does anything. Yeah, so I think the one that's hot at the moment is BSLK here. 465 current high. Give us that trend line.
Give us the trend line.
I'm just looking to see here if we have any other levels we can look at in the meantime for that. So seeing back from April to pretty much April this year, 460, 465 is a resistance area because it was previously support back in April. So I'd be looking at that as a support turned resistance after it lost that level in May. Hasn't been able to recapture it despite testing that area too. So here we are coming back up to it right now.
Which one are you watching, 13?
This is BSLK.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what I've got here on the.
Yeah, I'm just looking at
on the screen.
I'm just looking at past price action here, and I mean this area that we're trading at right now has rejected the price once already this year in July, early July. So just waiting to see if we get that same kind of price action again, or if we actually start to trade into it and close into it. Meanwhile, MNTS is trying to find some support down around, I believe, the area I was talking about where the 65 EMA is and this 160 area. So trying to turn around, has a big seller in the way at 170. It's going to need some more volume to get through that. Oops, I just realized I stopped scrolling through that. Okay, there we go.
MNTS. See what else we got here. NEG.
PSKY.
Got Newegg again. PSKY. Let me put that on the screen here.
Yeah, just reading what the mention here is from Ryan Summerall. So this has had a nice morning. Let me take a look at this here. P-Sky. Paramount Skydance Corp. Huh? Got a buy rating on this. Let me look here. See what I can get for you. So this is really just mostly moving on.
Sorry, there you go, Smoke Tuna. I was behind on my register rings. I apologize, 13.
No problem. On the price target, it looks like Guggenheim initiated coverage on this and announced a $13 price target. That's what I'm seeing. And then I also see that Hillwood and SGS Studios launched largest production campus in Texas. Yeehaw. A 450 square foot studio facility now active in Fort Worth. So I don't know if is that the company that we're talking about here? I don't think it is, but I don't know why this is. Oh, it's in collaboration. Okay. Float of this one is 630 million. So that is really moving for such a large float. Let me look at my broker, see if I can infer anything else from this.
Okay.
Looks like it's time to roll over. So be careful with P Sky. If it holds VWAP at about $13, that might be okay for some more upside. But this thing is looking like it's starting to roll over here. So it seems to me like VWAP might be the last area of support.
BMNR, on the other hand, through VWAP.
Perfect. BTAI just lost VWAP and went through the 200 EMA as well. X4 is still going sideways, trying to recapture VWAP. WBTN, more new highs of the session, 1651 now. ATNF did get up to that 1750, and I'm sorry, we didn't go any higher than that 1745. Backing off a little bit, getting some support from the VWAP right now, but might end up going lower still. BSLK highest 470. And folks, we are 2 minutes away. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Digital Dino. I appreciate it.
Second breakfast. I mean, if he's going to quote Hobbit stuff, now I'm all for that.
Hey, BSLK, hit the trend line. Thank you very much.
Look at that. 13, you deserve a register ring and a one-up for that. Let's go.
All right. So that was fantastic. It's been a pretty good morning.
Yeah, I was just going to say, good day here.
Pretty good morning. I think, BMNR still trying to push up. I think it's going to be about that time that I, kind of call this pretty good and maybe close out positions or raise some stops, go handle some business.
Handle it.
Go handle some business. Nice move in Voyager today. It's one I'm keeping an eye on because we are getting that Starship launch supposedly sometime later this month. And I believe if we do get that, we could see this stock turn around and really move if the launch of the test flight is successful.
Yeah, not in this anymore. That was one of my recent losing trades, unfortunately.
Bull really taking it on the chin today, coming down to some of the lows of yesterday. But, this will probably trade around. I'm still looking for 18.
Zach says 1,000 new Ondis followers in a week on StockTwits. I'll be the first to admit here, I don't really know how StockTwits works. I've never really used it. One of my other trading buddies talks about it all of the time, but I don't know what that means, Zach. I don't know what this. Let's put it this way: I don't know what the significance of that is.
And Smoke Tuna, we had a 200% runner yesterday. That was ATNF in the toward the back half of the day. So I guess with a little bit of patience, we'll still get them. And then I was laughing at Joseph Schmo. Core, we've made a lot of Bilbo bag holders.
So real quick here regarding on Marcus here saying, I'm not sure why the big pullback in on despite multiple upgrades. Well, let's take a close look at that. I don't know how many upgrades there actually were here. In fact, all I see is a downgrade. Now, I do see some price target adjustments. All right, but these are not a change in rating, and these are often not nearly as impactful as an actual upgrade or downgrade. So part of me would say that the downgrade from Jefferies with a price target of 40 is probably what's driving the boat here. Barclays went from 68 to 69. Okay. Morgan Stanley went from 62 to 65. Okay. And UBS went from 75 to 79, all maintaining their targets. I would say here that the Jefferies downgrade is outweighing the price target adjustments to the upside. So Izzy says StockTwits used to be good, but now it's just a bunch of twits on there. Oh, that's good stuff. Robert, you have been on this, man. I appreciate this. I haven't seen the tweet from Eric. Let me see if I can look that up. 13, get in there.
I was just going to respond to Ryan. No, I haven't seen that news. I haven't been following PSKY, so I don't know. Clearly, I don't know as much as you do about it, but I can only speak to the chart because I haven't dug as deep as you have into the finances and the other aspects of the company. Just not a big fan of Paramount, Warner Brothers, Disney right now. I think they have a real content problem.
Okay, so here is what, really quickly, let me get this. Robert, I think this is what you are referencing. Eric Brock, remember, this is the CEO of Ondis here. He's active on Twitter, and I appreciate that without a doubt. Happy to share that Ondas has raised $150 million from high-quality institutional investors, bringing our cash position to $200 million plus. This gives us the firepower to accelerate our core strategic growth plan, stronger capital base, lower cost of capital, de-risked plan, faster growth. So he's telling you exactly what we're thinking here, and an unfair advantage in scaling and consolidating the industry. As we shared yesterday on the investor call, we have a mandate to lead, and we're playing to win. So it seems like they're really putting themselves in the right position. That's what I got for you here on that. Still, though, give us 24 hours to feel good. Anyway,
wasn't in that I could have sworn in one of their filings with regard to the public offering to raise capital. I thought that was they had mentioned that they are looking to hire more staff and acquire more technologies.
Yes. That was that they also kind of generally covered that. Here, I actually, you know what? I have it here. I can read you the exact quote because I have a news story about this here. Let me bring it back up here. Here we go. All of the shares in the offering will be sold by Ondas. Net proceeds are expected to be used for working capital, general corporate purposes, and potential strategic transactions. So I think you might be referring to the when they initially filed for it back in April.
Okay.
I don't know, but either way, clearly what they're doing with this is they're trying to ramp the business, and we just had a pretty good earnings in the back of that. So hopefully this is the start of a new.
And you know, it makes sense that they are going to do an offering to ramp the business. Usually, if you're doing an offering because the company's having financial struggles, that's a different story altogether.
And that's not the case. Exactly.
Not the case.
Yeah,
no, they have to get from point A to point B because there's demand for them to get to point A to point B, but they can't get the capital, so they have to do this offering. And I think they're going through a lender probably would be too long, or might have come with too many restrictions or requirements. So, quickest way to raise that capital in order to get ramped up. Jared, good call. Jared saying BSLK parabolic. I think we're at the point now where if you folks were trading this here today, you should be punching your ticket and booking those gains here today. That means register rings for the entire group. Yep, we just hit the 550 level that we were looking for. We went up to 560. The next one is going to be 625. There was also ATNF that was had 3 candles that pulled it back down to the 65 EMA and the trend line. Hasn't broken beneath the session low yet. So if we can continue to hold this trend line, there may be a good opportunity here for this to turn around and recover. But watch the volume. We are in this time of the day now where volume is really starting to leave. Maybe this does another repeat of yesterday where it trades better in the afternoon when more people have returned from eating or doing whatever they needed to do. So I don't think I would completely say this is off the table yet, but if we start to lose some of these, like if we start to lose 14, I think that'd be it.
Okay. BLSH not open yet. Big bear hug out of your SPY put or your SPX puts for 50%. That was a really good trade there. I'll tell you what, Big Bees gave you that earlier. He went right to that 6,500 and immediately backed off. That was absolutely the short area there. Good stuff from the group here again today.
X4 just got a sudden pop. I'm not sure if this is going to sustain, but it looks like it wants to go for 345, 350, and potentially higher. Do we have a trend line here from the 388 to the session high? We would be breaking over this right now. Let's see if this holds. Let's see if that holds. BSLK was a great stock to point out. Thanks. Absolutely, Harry. Hopefully you've got some money out of that.
Barat saying, watch Kava. Boy, I tell you what, we've been watching Kava here today. What's it doing, Barat? Oh, wait. That's the wrong chart. Okay, so again, still waiting. Maybe we do push above this.
Not a bad looking formation there.
No, not at all.
Oh, that means that we could. This setup makes it seem like 72 is coming up. MNTS getting a little bit of a recovery after testing the 65 EMA. I'm not really confident this is going to, blast up through VWAP and go on to make a new session high. At least not right now. Don't like the way the volume looks. Maybe later in the day this comes back. I don't know. But right now, the volume's not looking as great. We're trading at just a fraction of what we were getting in the around the open.
Real quick here, Joe, I love that you used the word impervious. Here we go on Apple, though. We are actually, this trade, I'll tell you what, we talked about this trade setting up a number of times here with Apple breaking out of this 215 top end of this triangle. Still have it drawn on the chart here. We took out the 200-day and we went right to the 233 spot. This was our next target on this. Here we are. So another resistance level on that potential trade. I've got the next spot here. I really want to say 250 and are 17 points from where we're at.
Kava and orange juice is wonderful according to my coworkers. Your coworkers like mimosas, don't they? Sounds to me like they do. BMNR still pushing up, looking for 70 again. We're at the high 68s now. Looking for X4 to try and take out the session high. This trend line would be great if we got that move.
Take care, James.
Take care, James. Have a good one. Wiss, you're mentioning G Bio wants more. I don't even think we looked at that one this morning.
No, I don't think we did. Sorry, Wiss.
That's up 46%, so something we should have been looking at. We got a buy rating from Jefferies. They highlighted their promising siRNA delivery and financial stability after they had earnings yesterday, where they had top and bottom misses, but I guess that's okay if you are giving some higher expectations or trying to provide some kind of guidance.
Bullish. They're showing bullish on CNBC. It looks like it's looking to open between 55 and 60. See if that changes. BLSH, the new IPO today.
Tom, I'm using a price ladder. Some brokers will call it a price matrix. Do you have a name for? Does your broker have a name for yours? But it's basically, it shows you the entire, like a whole range of prices and where there are sell orders and buy orders. Shows you the volume. So, a lot of brokers have stuff like this. I don't know what everybody's is called, but I know with TradeStation they call it the matrix.
And in Thinkorswim they call it the active trader tab of your chart.
There you go. So this is where I'm able to see large amounts of orders stacking up at certain positions. And it's really helpful to keep an eye on that, because if you can see them getting those sellers start getting chewed up, it really does set up some good trades for breakouts and runners. So like I just saw here in BSLK, there was a seller that just dropped a large amount of shares right at about, I think it was 510, and it took it out and pushed a little bit higher. And now the buyers are stepping in to support that 510 level now with their bids that are stacking up there, and that's helping us lift it higher. So absolutely, have I heard of level pound? I think you mean level 3. I use level 2.
Yeah, level 3, isn't that book map? I use level 2 as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything, and level 3, level 4, or whatever is not good to use. Absolutely use it if it helps you trade. But there is such a thing as an oversaturation of information. I just want to keep keeping things to where it works for you is great. Maybe I will get some value if I try and look at and see what I can do with level 3 or anything else. But level 2 has served me well, and it's kind of cheap.
Real quickly here, question. The Digital Dino says, anyone know why Costco is down so far? Yeah, this is why Benzinga Pro is so awesome. It will tell you all of that stuff. Shares of grocery and food delivery stocks are trading lower after Amazon announced an expansion of its same-day grocery delivery. Now, full disclosure here, I don't know where Costco is going to bottom out at, but I 100% think this is a buying opportunity. I don't think Amazon is a replacement for Costco personally. So I think this is kind of a knee-jerk reaction, but this is why it's trading down 2% today, Digital Dino.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Now, here's the thing, because I saw Anne-Marie just not that long ago, earlier this morning, mention how there were a lot of put options being picked up in Walmart, and Walmart's being affected by that news as well.
Yep.
So with this, Amazon stepping up their grocery sector expansion, probably that's the whole thing is here is Costco's down on that, and so is Walmart. Now, where do they end up going? Well, I think Costco is going to end up having a date with, man, we did recover a little bit, didn't we? I still think this is going to end up hitting 875 at some point before we see new all-time highs again. That's just my opinion, and I could be wrong about that, but I think this thing really does need to cool off some more and lose 900 before we start seeing over 1,000 again. 200 and 500 SMAs are monsters for buys. Those really help, especially when you're a long-term investor. Those are so good. Well, Smoked Tuna, you have your low beams on. That's why you can see through the fog.
Or fog lights. Yeah, folks, we do have an all access coming up in 7 minutes. So we'll be done here in just about 7 minutes. And then after that, we have story trading. As Izzy is mentioning, Rigetti CEO is on CNBC right now. He's giving his quantum outlook. I can't hear it, but that's what's going on right now. Rigetti down 1.7%.
Which is fantastic, considering their earnings report that they had, which they had a much bigger than expected miss, a 13-cent miss on EPS versus the 6-cent miss that was expected. But their plan for a 100 qubit quantum system at almost 100% fidelity by year end, that sounds pretty dang good. I mean, we are making some real headway in quantum at a pretty fast pace. So I'm thinking that we may see some rethinking about how far out quantum really is.
I was still on the bandwagon of maybe 10 years. I'm not going to readjust. I'll just take the L if I am in fact wrong.
Okay.
Really quick here. Marco or Marcelo saying, try to join a webinar that is how pros are trading into July. Based on the title of that webinar, I'm guessing you tried to join an old one, boss. We're in August.
Big Bear Hug, you're mentioning stops. So just to kind of infer from what you're saying there, I think it's time to maybe make sure we're protecting ourselves in case we get some more market pull. Tell me what your you tell me what your thought is there on that. And then Ryan Summerall is asking, why is Netflix share so high? What was their best catalyst? I think when it comes to Netflix and Spotify, those are kind of unique in the sense that they have a anti-recessionary measure against them, where people are still going to end up paying for that service despite being in a recession.
This is going to be one of the last services to go, and then there's also really no tariff impact here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the other thing, no tariff impact really. So that's like the reason that we're looking at why this has been doing so well. Now it has come off of the highs of around 1350, and it's struggling with the 50-day SMA recapture today. But if it can continue to hold above the 20-day SMA, there may be another visit coming later where it can recapture the 50-day SMA. But right now, today, it looks like it's coming back down to the 20-day SMA. We'll have to just end up seeing what happens there.
Barat made 15K on the Kava Pop, all out.
Nice.
Barat, this is a great day, brother. Chewbacca loves it. Register ring, amazing stuff there. Great job, Barat. Great job. I just tell you what, we've had yet another awesome day. BMNR, by the way, is above 70 again.
Let's go. Hold that one up. There it is. Yeah, we're about to test that 70-74 high we put in the regular session here. And that would be we're a little bit above the high where we were on Monday. What was the level I was mentioning after this? Well, it's certainly not going to be that 161. Like 170. I'm sorry, 75. I think is what was next. If we get back over 70, whoops, we just kind of fell back beneath it. It looks like 75 is going to be next.
Oh, got it, Shady. Look, I call it the way I see it, right? I call it the way I see it. See, Boogie, what's the bottom on CoreWeave? Boy, bro, if I knew that, I'd be trading CoreWeave. I'd be waiting for that bottom. I don't know what the bottom is going to be because I am expecting some more selling when the lockup period expires. CoreWeave's currently at 125. I mean, honestly, I could see this thing trading back down to 100.
Let's see what we got here. Now, the next area I see that's going to be supported is going to be the 20-day SMA. That's going to take you to about 120 and 25 cents. Now that's the support I would want to see, because if we get that, then two things could be shaping up here. One, we could be getting the support we need to turn around and take out the 50-day SMA in a meaningful way that we hold above that moving average. But also we'll have a bit of a bullish pattern forming with a potential inverse head and shoulders following the selling from June. So if we do get that support down around, the 20-day SMA around 120, or even a little bit earlier, then I'd be looking at a recapture, and we could probably even go beyond 160 on that pattern resolution. So just some things to watch for. Need to see that 20-day SMA hold.
Rakesh, lockup date is the 14th, which means the 15th, which is Friday, is the first day that those insiders can sell at the open market. Also, Sassy Butterfly Chick, good morning. Just wanted to say hi. I've been watching with my rooster. I'm glad you said rooster. Great information and humor as always, guys. Love ya. Appreciate the support. Be sure to hit that like for us so we can exploit the algorithm. What is your rooster's name? What time does he normally get up? Just curious.
Oh man, Lance, Knights Lance. I mean, yeah, that's one thing that we didn't see coming. A lot of these different things we didn't see coming, like Tesla. Remember when that was like $3? I remember when that was $3, and this was all before any of the splits.
All
and
right,
that thing was just insane.
13. We're going to move over to All Access. Closing words for the group. Go.
Hey, folks, another wonderful day hanging out with y'all and learning and teaching and making money. This has been a great morning. Let's have another great morning tomorrow. I'll see y'all back here then. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
And 13's parting gift is BMNR spiking to highs. We absolutely love that. All right, really good stuff here today. We're going to move over to All Access. So I'm proud to bring on the original hot dog vendor at Ford Field, Dan Leach. Dan, how you doing here today?
Doing great. I actually have 3 roosters, and one of them is the rooster from Top Gun. So I've saved him since then.
Okay. Glad we got that covered. Dan, what do you got coming up here on All Access?
That's all I get from you. Nothing more. Come on,
you got
man.
a smile from me, baby. You got about all you can get here today. I'm on a synthetic Friday right now. I'm ready to roll.
You're fired up. I was an original hot dog vendor at Ford Field. There was a fire, but I put it out. There really was a fire at Ford Field. That was there once. I have my man, Dr. Jonathan Javitt, the CEO of NRX Pharmaceuticals. Very important thing they're doing. We're going to get into a lot of great stuff that's going to open up a lot of
Dan, All Access starts now. Take it away.
Hey, Zingers, and welcome to All Access. I do have a wonderful guest for you today. Is Dr. Jonathan Javitt, the CEO of NRX Pharmaceuticals. Their NASDAQ ticker is NRXP. He's joining us for an exclusive talk today. All Access starts right now. And it is my pleasure to welcome in the CEO of NRX Pharmaceuticals, Dr. Jonathan Javitt. It's wonderful to be with you today.
How are you, Dan?
Doing well. Well, listen, I want to get right into this. And as you well know, sadly, over 13 million people, Americans, seriously consider suicide each year. Yet treating it has proven very, very difficult. I've been affected with friends and family in my life. And I know NRX is aiming to change that with NX101 and NX100. Could you please tell us about those drugs under development and how they are different than what's available in the market right now?
Well, right now, you have a lot of antidepressant pills that people have known for 50 years. Those pills may reduce depression, but every one of them has a label on it saying, caution, this drug may cause suicide. And the reason for that is all of these drugs that affect the serotonin levels in the brain trigger a symptom called akathisia and actually have the potential to increase suicidal ideation. I got into this when I actually lost my best friend to suicide. And I remember sitting with him the night before, sitting with his daughter the night before his funeral, saying, you know, if your dad had a short circuit in his heart and died from it, this would be a terrible day, but nobody would be blaming him. And you need to understand that he had a short circuit in his brain, had no more control over how he died than if he died of a heart attack. And that was 2009. And maybe I was being overly optimistic about where the science was taking us, but it's now 2025 and the science has taken us exactly there. We understand that suicidality is what's called a loss of plasticity in the brain. Neuroplasticity is the process by which brain cells reach out and touch other brain cells. You think about a computer. You've carved circuits onto a piece of silicon. The circuits will never change. You'll just turn different ones on and off to make the computer do stuff. Human brain works very differently. Human brain cells are constantly sending out shoots called dendrites. They touch other brain cells. That's how thoughts are formed. That's how memories are created. It's a very dynamic process. And when you lose that process called plasticity, then you are frequently in a depressive state. It's been associated with PTSD. It's been associated with suicidal depression. And all of these drugs we're so excited about, whether it's ketamine, which is NRX 101, D-cycloserine is ketamine's NRX 100, D-cycloserine is NRX 101. People are talking about psychedelics. All of these drugs upregulate neuroplasticity. They cause the brain to start making new connections. That's also happening with treatments like TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation, hyperbaric oxygen. So, after 3,000 years of mankind living in mystery about what causes suicide, what causes melancholy, we're actually seeing it at a chemical and biological level, and we have the ability to actually intervene. NRX 100 ketamine decreases suicidal thoughts within hours.
No, it's incredible work that you're doing. And like you said, we're in 2025, and there's definitely, ways to really help more people than we could in the past. So, I just want to laud you for what you're doing and trying to help all these people. And let's talk about NRX 100, Dr. Javid. I know it just received fast track designation for the treatment of suicidal ideation in patients with depression. How big of a deal is that for the company? Does it expand the addressable market for NX 100 by a lot?
Well, from a market perspective, it's a huge deal because the original fast track designation was for people with bipolar depression, and they represent about 10% of all people with depression. So you're talking about going from a market of maybe 1 million people a year to the 13 million that CDC identifies as having suicidal ideation in any given year. More importantly, the fast track designation included a scientific determination by the FDA that we address an unmet medical need. That's part and parcel of fast track. And the reason that's important is we've applied for a Commissioner's National Priority Voucher, which is a new program created by FDA Commissioner Macri to accelerate drugs to market, drugs that directly address a national crisis. And there's no question that the current epidemic of suicide is a national crisis, but specifically drugs that have been determined to address an unmet medical need. So that's a gating requirement for that voucher program. And in this fast track designation, FDA made that scientific determination.
And as you said, it is a national crisis. I've been touched by it personally. It's just brutal. And to be able to try to help people with this, it really is going to save a lot of lives. I know NRX, by the way, doctor, recently filed a citizen petition with the US FDA seeking the removal of benzethonium chloride from all forms of ketamine that's sold in the United States. Why didn't NRX do that? And what are the chances of the FDA granting that request?
Well, I can't speak for what the FDA is going to do, but let's talk about how this toxic preservative wound up in ketamine. Once upon a time, this drug was developed as a battlefield anesthetic during the Vietnam War. And it was great for that purpose because it was the first anesthetic that doesn't decrease respiration. It's the first anesthetic where a battlefield medic could give it without having to put a tube down the patient's throat. So it was a huge advance at the time. but they originally formulated it so that the same vial of medicine could be used for multiple patients. And if you're going to stick a needle through the rubber stopper of a vial more than once, you've got to have some kind of preservative in there to make sure that if you introduce an organism, it doesn't contaminate the medicine. Well, times have changed. Nobody uses medicines for the multiple doses for different patients from the same vial. That's old practice.
Right.
But the preservative's still there, and nobody ever showed that the preservative was safe. It's not on the FDA GRAS list. That's called generally recognized as safe. And FDA is concerned about it to the point where they've publicly said it can't be used in hand cleanser and topical antiseptics. So to be injecting this into an intravenous drug when there's no reason for it seems counterproductive. And at the same time, ketamine was originally envisioned as a drug that would be given to somebody once during anesthesia in the operating room. Here, it's being given multiple times to treat depression. It's being used to treat chronic regional pain syndrome. It's being used for lots of applications that were never intended when the drug was originally formulated on a repeated basis. And the amount of benzethonium chloride that's being injected into people to us is unconscionable, given how toxic that preservative is.
Well, it's definitely hope the FDA grants that request. It would make a lot of sense. And I know, Dr. Jeff, in addition to developing drugs to treat suicidal depression, NRX has been opening treatment clinics around the country, which is awesome. Tell us about that strategy and where you see it heading.
Well, we established a subsidiary called Hope Therapeutics because we recognize that no matter how exciting these medicines are, they probably address 60-70% of the need. If you look at the clinical trials data that we've presented in multiple places, you're seeing 60-70% response rate. And you look at the psychedelics, you're not seeing the magic that everybody hoped we would see. Expectations are coming down to earth. And at the same time as these medicines have been advancing, another very promising technology, transcranial magnetic stimulation, has been advancing. And TMS is a process where you take a powerful electromagnet, you put it outside the head. In some cases, you target specific areas of the brain where you can see loss of neuroplasticity. And the evidence is that TMS also achieves a 60-70% response rate in people with depression. Well, what we started to see as we got to know people who were running these clinics, not the people who are running a ketamine clinic on the corner who often don't know what they're doing, and they may be doing a ketamine drip on Monday and selling vitamin drips on Tuesday and God knows what on Wednesday. But when you talk to the academically trained psychiatrists who have built interventional psychiatry practices around using drugs like ketamine, around using TMS, they're telling us that they can affect a real remission. They don't want to use the word cure yet, but a real remission in close to 90% of people who walk in the door. So we recognize that there's a huge opportunity to build a national brand in the same way that when dialysis was a new area, companies like DaVita and Fresenius came in and they made dialysis trustworthy. They made it reliable. They created national standards and they built incredible businesses. So in that same way, we think there's an opportunity for somebody to come in and, maybe one day soon we'll be able to say to a patient, you give us a week, we'll give you your life back.
I mean, you could have said anything more beautiful there. So let's, send all the positivity to what you guys are doing. And listen, all the progress the company has been making, all the great progress has been getting the attention of some investment firms, which I know have been recently reiterating buy ratings on the stock, setting double-digit price targets. What do you think is driving the optimism now, Dr. Javid, and into the future for the company?
Well, biotech has been a beaten up sector. And in many ways, it's because the average biotech company is 5 years from market. And that was something that was viable when interest rates were zero, when investors were looking desperately for any kind of return on their money. Well, when you're talking about a 10-year T-bill in the fours and lots of opportunity to make money without a ton of risk in the 7-8% return range, all of a sudden, biotech with a long-term horizon is a whole lot less attractive. Well, we're one of those unusual biotech companies where we're looking at a real potential of meaningful revenue in 2026. Even if we just get the generic ketamine approval, the ANDA, we're talking about being able to introduce a U.S. manufactured drug that has the advantage of being preservative-free into a generic marketplace where most of the ketamine sold, and it's about $750 million a year of ketamine sold in that sector, is foreign manufactured. If the citizens petition is accepted, if people recognize that there's no reason to have this toxic preservative in the ketamine, then we'd probably get a disproportionate share of that generic marketplace until others are able to adjust and bring out preservative-free products, although we do have a patent filed that may make it difficult for people to do that. We don't know. You never know with a patent. And finally, we have the potential to get a real drug approval with the first ketamine product that has a label for treatment of depression. Now, obviously, that's up to the FDA, and it's a regulatory process. But certainly, the fast track designation should give people some optimism. If you look at the statistics put out by the Biotechnology Trade Association or others, in general, there's a belief that medicines that have fast track and breakthrough designations are more likely to get approved than those that don't. So, we're one of those biotechs that could actually turn into a profitable pharmaceutical company within a short time horizon. And especially in a high interest rate environment, that's something that I think securities analysts have responded favorably to.
And deservedly so. Well, listen, it was an absolute pleasure and honor talking to you today, Dr. Javid. Thank you so much for what you guys are doing, and best of luck going forward with that. And thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Pleasure and honor all mine. That was the CEO of NRX Pharmaceuticals doing yeoman's work, Dr. Jonathan Javid. Their NASDAQ ticker is NRXP. Now let's send it back to the great Ryan Faluna.
All right, that's all I get is the great Ryan. I was expecting a little more from you, Dan. Just kidding. All right, thanks for.
Well, serious topic today, so I kept it calm today.
Fair enough. I'm sorry for stepping out of line, Dan. Really good job. You're right there about doing yeoman's work. We'll catch up with you next time. Okay.
Hey, love you, my man.
All right, take care. That is Dan Leach for All Access. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's bring on the guys. Here's Ben, Rhett, the Godfather, and the Screen. Guys, how you doing here this morning?
Doing good, thanks.
Great.
Doing good.
All right, awesome. I want to share something here with you real quick. Check this comment out. Joined Story Trading as a member, one of our guys, and they love it. You guys do great work.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'll get out of your hair here. Good luck here today, boys.
All right, awesome, beautiful. Look, we got light CPI yesterday, sort of, depending on what you look at. We had jobs numbers last couple weeks and other economic data coming in weak, and it's risk on. Interest rate expectations have risen. IWM breaking out, outperforming QQQ and SPY. And you know what? I'm done trying to be cautious about seasonality. I lost so much money not being fully invested, being cautious, getting chopped out because I was worried about. I mean, I say we lost so much money, but I'm up 370% this year. But I could have been up 500% by now over the last few weeks if I swung with conviction, bought the dips intraday with conviction. But I was worried about an August correction, which hasn't materialized. And that's a lesson that I got. Sometimes you got to learn over and over. But it's probably best, generally speaking, not to try to anticipate the corrections and rather just react to it quickly when it does happen, when it's clear that it's happening. So I know there's some sayings out there. People talk like more money's been lost trying to time the bottom than whatever. I don't know how it goes, but you've seen it out there. And I think the last few weeks has been an example of that. Things kind of, depending on what you're looking at, look stretched. QQQ, SPY, etc. But if you go back and you look at like a weekly chart and you look at what happened during COVID, you look at the RSIs on the weekly, even the daily, at this point, who cares? Like, even through this little volatility we did have here, this dip See this dip here? Remember that for 2 days? It was not a broad sell-off. I mean, yes, the breadth was poor. However, stocks that had inflection point catalysts, good earnings reports, other good PRs, which were really like material type of things, were still acting really good. They were still surging 15, 20, 25%, even on these two really bad red days, which tells me, you know what? Like, why even bother getting distracted by the indices? Let's do what we do best, which is stock picking. And I should have not worried. I honestly, Brett, you know how I've been doing. I would have been up at this point, up 500% year to date, if I was not cautious the last like 5-6 weeks, and if I was swinging positions more. So yeah, that's my macro comments. Plenty of stocks to talk about. So let's see if Godfather, you probably have a slightly different take, but let's hear what you have to say. Then we'll get into the stocks.
Yeah, look, from a macro standpoint, we do need to look at the indices, right? We want to see when these things break the 9s and break the 21s and, break the 50s and so on. And as long as we're above those, which we are, and especially in the key sectors that we're focused on, it is green light, as you said, for days and swing type trades. And we'll adjust. We'll adjust when the market tells us to adjust. And you're right. Right now, it is full green light for trading. Yeah. So look, there are other things coming down the pipe that will probably lead any sort of sell-off to be relatively shallow, right? Most notably, I talk about Jackson Hole, which starts from the August 21st to the 23rd. And then, of course, we've got another non-farm payroll report on the 5th of September, which really isn't that far away. So if we're getting this kind of a sugar high on lower rates, coming off of relatively muted CPI, imagine what a weak NFP number following on, the weak NFP number from 2 weeks ago will do to this market in terms of those rate expectations. I would caution a little bit, though. The last time the Fed cut rates, what happened to the 10-year? It actually went up.
That was right before the election, I think.
Yeah. So look, I'll talk about this a little later in the show, but I want to talk about interest-sensitive sectors, and I want to talk about where the administration is going to focus their guns next, and sort of skating to where the puck will be. But we can get to that later in the show.
All right, you can see here I'm looking at AMD, a little bit obsessed with them, trading some call options here today. I held AMD call options overnight. They paid well, up 100%. Got near my 187 target. I sold the call options early, but then I had common shares, wrote them to close to 187, sold. But then I re-entered. I don't know, re-entered maybe a little bit too early. I'm in some.
I'm being a little cautious at the moment here.
I'm in some next week's 182.50 calls. Wow, what a reversal on AMD! But anyway, I got this in my.
I did something I never do. AMD was my largest position.
Yeah.
It was my largest position, and I sold 100% in the 186 range. And I'm waiting for a re-entry. So
well done.
Happy to see the chart.
It's right now. It's at the pre-market high, which is 180.48, and that's often a support level. I gotta try more here. I gotta do it.
I'm gonna wait to see what it does at the exactly 180 level.
180.48. Did it bounce off of it? Yeah, pretty much did. 180.40. I'm getting a couple more AMD. I usually don't. This is not my shtick. I don't do a lot of this, but anyway, there's AMD. Okay, there's a lot to talk about, man. Ethan, we just crushed BMNR. I've been all over BMNR since the end of day, August 6th. I forgot what the catalyst was that day, but it was paired with this 20 DMA break, and I was calling for big price targets, and we got them. I just did sell the last of my shares, though, up here at like 71.50. I didn't hold it continuous. There are many, many times I bought it back higher. I mean, this thing's just been an absolute beast. So anyway, we're tracking that, playing some other, maybe some ETH stocks we'll see. I'm a little bit of BTBT today. But look, I want to talk about just 3 stocks, and then I'll turn it over to the Godfather. Those 3 stocks are ONDS, TSSI, and then we'll get to Quick. But ONDS, I made big money on this yesterday, but then had to fight to make it back, and I did overnight because they had an offering. $3.25 offering. I was on the conference call yesterday, and it absolutely blew me away. I mean, this stock's been on my radar for at least weeks. I mean, it's been on my radar for a long time, but it's been on my radar as like an inflection point stock for many weeks. After they cleaned up their balance sheet, they had an awesome investor day. They had a series of really bullish press release, and the earnings call was absolutely tremendous. Godfather, I don't know if you listened to that earnings call, but to me, this is the premier small cap drone stock at this point. It blows away RCAP, blows away UMAC, blows away all the small cap, drone stocks. And I think you got to own this. I added it to my retirement account yesterday. They didn't need this money. They raised $150 million at $325, I think, to do 2 acquisitions, accretive acquisitions. And I think the dips are going to continue to be bought on this. And I bought the dips this morning and kind of got myself out of that overnight situation. I was buying down here at 335, 340. So that worked out for me. And I'm still in ONDS. And then a quick one, TSSI, which I haven't been in. Lately, I haven't. I've avoided all of this move over the last 2 months. We wrote it very early from like 250 to about 12, 13, something like that, or maybe 16. I missed most of this though. The move to 30 and the move back down. There was an offering at $17. I think it was a clean offering with no warrant. So I'm in that today. Seems like a place where it can find support, even though technically on the daily chart doesn't look superb. I mean, there's some support up here. Third stock I want to talk about is Quick. And this is the one I'm most excited to talk about because it's right in my wheelhouse of looking for these like micro caps with transformational inflection points. QUIK, market cap 94 million. May not be for everyone watching here because it's not very liquid, small market cap. I'll tell you this. Last night I was buying this at 520, 530, alerted our community to do that. The opportunity was because the press release was terrible. They had earnings last night. They missed on EPS, missed on revenue, and they guided revenue down significantly for next quarter. So okay, why the hell would you want to be in this stock? Let me show you this. Let me see if this works. Yes, it does. Okay. All right. So on the conference call last night, I've listened to maybe 4 or 5 quick conference calls over the last few years, and most of them have been really boring. Most of them have been, as one of the bears on X said, basically inconsistent results, right? No inflections. Okay, last night, here's the first quote from the conference call. All right, it says here, we strongly believe these initiatives will accelerate. But what do? Strategic rad-hard FPGA. This is radiation hardware. Semiconductors that are hardened for radiation, so they can be protected in space. So, they're selling into space applications here. But anyway, it says that they've done some shifts over here, some pivots, and this has decreased the revenue outlook for Q3, but it's expected to feel a substantial increase in Q4. All right. And then they go on to talk. There it is. It's been well publicized that DoD has prioritized certain strategic defense systems, including Golden Dome. They went on to talk about Golden Dome and other space programs a lot during that call. And they're talking about substantial increase in revenue in Q4 for these purchase orders that they think could lead to hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. CFO saying here, positive cash flow, non-GAAP profitability in Q4. So a dip in Q2 and Q3 leading to a substantial increase in revenue and profitability in Q4, targeting hundreds of millions of revenue. It sounds like they do have business directly associated with Golden Dome from what it sounds like. And here's an interesting comment from an analyst, Craig Halem, on the call saying over here, it's not, I guess you've made for a very, very interesting call. Had all this prep done, and that's almost thrown out the door here. Really interesting stuff going on here. So I call that an inflection catalyst, a transformational moment in the stock, QUIK. And we'll see. It's not going to show up in the numbers until Q4 is reported. Okay. So we'll see how much the market is going to care about that, how much the market is going to rely on the conference call here, and or we have to wait for Q4 or not. But, this is a very a sector with a lot of tailwinds, a lot of buzz and positive sentiment around Golden Dome and space applications. So I went ahead and bought that heavily in the 520s, the 530s as well here this morning. All right, those are the three stocks. There's other things here, but you know what? Some of these are Godfather. I'm a Godfather if you want to talk about your BZAI, BTBT if you want to talk about that earnings tomorrow. SPCB also has earnings tomorrow. So I'll let you take it from here. Go. Oh, if you have any comments on Quake, I'd love to hear them, by the way.
So look, you know where I stand on these small cap semiconductors. They've been a wasteland. There's so many big players in this market that have products that cross all of these sectors. I mean, there's at least 10 large semiconductor companies that make radiation hardened semis. So it's not a new thing. It's an existing market. They are going to have to compete, and they're going to have to compete on technology and price. Price makes it difficult for small cap semiconductors to compete, but if they have an edge on technology, and I can't speak to that, and or maybe the market's large enough that they can get their share, which it sounds like from the conference call they have a level of confidence they can, then obviously it's going to be manifested more in these small cap names, and you're going to get, as a side business to BAE Systems or even EMD, which provides some radiation hardware.
Is this a name you previously looked at? Have you listened to any of the conference calls?
No. Only I've looked at it on a comp basis, along with some of these other smaller cap semis. But I came to this conclusion early on that the underperformance is almost secular, or systematic, if you want, in small cap semis for the reasons I just mentioned. So I avoid them as a group for that reason.
So,
but I wasn't on this conference call, and I can't speak to the specifics as were said. So, look, it's been a great trade for you. I think anything under 550, it looks like there's a great risk reward.
Yeah, for me, a lot of this comes down to the conference call and the sentiment that was being shared, and just my gut memory from how the other conference calls went. It just sounded a lot more definitive than I've ever heard from them, and they're talking about Golden Dome. So for me, that's a green signal. Despite I hear what you're saying about the sector, but I think this.
Yeah, because of what I think about the sector and being a small cap company in that sector, I think it falls firmly in the trade side of the ledger, which is, I think, the way you're trading it, not as a long-term investment. So, look, let's talk about BZAI, because this is the company that I talked about in small cap spaces on Wolf Financial, and as you know, we're looking for second derivative plays to AI. These guys traffic in the same sphere as OUST, which is a huge win for our community, from 16 to over 30. Look, these guys are doing graph processing unit semiconductors at the edge. So it's essentially making infrastructure intelligent. And this is important for things like traffic cameras. It's important for EVs. It's important for industrial automation. It's important for a number of applications where you have inference that's required on-site security cameras, for example. You can't have the latency that comes into play if signals have to go all the way to a data center and then come back for processing. So these guys are providing a turnkey system, both the software suite as well as the hardware. There was a contract win that essentially doubled the stock from 3 into the 550s, $6 range. That got taken completely out of the stock as it traded right back essentially down to $3. They report tomorrow. There was a short report calling into question this company that they signed an 18-month, $120 million contract with. The company has not yet publicly addressed that short report. For certain, there are going to be questions on the conference call about that. This company wasn't even on my radar screen in terms of the backlog of opportunities, which are in excess of 400 million for this company. I have a great deal of confidence in this management team. These are engineers from NVIDIA, engineers from Intel. There are solid executives on the board from other Silicon Valley companies, extremely reputable. So look, we'll see how the market interprets this, but right now this thing is trading at around 3 times EV to sales. Compare that to OUST at around 8. So I think there's a great risk reward down here at the $3 level once again, and it's a near term. You're going to get some sort of confirmation of this inflection, because they have been doing pilot and test trials with a number of large customers, and they're just at the point where these things are being converted
And this
into
is something
solid.
you're comfortable holding into the earnings report?
Yes, at these levels, yes.
I also was.
Now,
I just got shaken off from that short. I got into this. It was last Friday. Yeah, was it Friday or Thursday? Hold on a second. Okay, yeah. It was August 8th. Okay, it was August 8th. You see that big red candle. I'm like, I'm in. Earnings anticipation run is beginning, and that's the same day the short report came out.
By those kids.
Yeah. So yeah, I got a bad taste in my mouth because I'm like, what? I was like, oh, it sucked. Whatever. All right. Anyway. So
look, I ordered in my long-term account, and I also have a short-term position going into this this quarter, because I think some confidence will be installed, reinstalled in this name, and there's evidence in the stock chart over the last couple of days that the short positions that were obviously taken ahead of that report have been covering. You can see it in terms of accumulation candles in the stock. But look, I have my notes in front of me now. So look, the board of directors contains the former CFO of Marvell Technologies. It contains execs from Palo Alto and Zscaler. Yes, this was a SPAC. It IPO'd at 1.2 billion. It's never seen those valuations since. But you're not paying for that. So again, at these levels, risk reward, yes, there's some confidence that needs to be re-inspired here, but I think all that represents opportunity. And look at this guidance that they came out with, which was a minimum of 130 million in revenue next year. One more contract could double that again. That's sort of the order of magnitude and the type of.
I mean, it looks really cheap, right? 130 million versus a market cap of 370 million. If that short report wasn't out there, I'd be in this hand over fist. I've heard your thesis about, when you win a big contract, it's not, what do you say? It's not uncommon for some website to be spun up. I hear you. I wish I could really internalize that and have conviction in that. It's just, I don't have personal experience with that. Is there any color you want to add to that maybe helps to spark conviction from you that this is not an issue, this website?
Well, I'll just reiterate what I said to the community, which is, what you paraphrased, which is essentially that, sometimes separate corporate entities are formed on a short-term basis for purposes of awarding these contracts. This will happen if there are multiple corporates that are involved in this purchase order. This is sort of clarity that we need to see from the company on the conference call. The bottom line is, the difference between an 8x multiple and a 3x multiple is, do you have your technology in the field? Is there an installed base that investors can point to? And this is the thing that's lacking on BZAI. So it becomes a matter of confidence, and if they can reinstill that confidence, then the market's going to apply a much higher multiple. So I think there's an opportunity here for this thing to move quite quickly back to that $5-6 range.
I mean, if they address that, especially if they address that issue, look, it's low-hanging fruit to the 20 DMA. 395 is like a slam dunk. It's a slam dunk. Like, if that short report wasn't out there, Godfather, if that short report wasn't out there, and I saw the stock today with earnings tomorrow, with that $120 million deal being announced back in July 18th, I would be like 95% chance you're hitting at least 395 at the 220 DMA, within the next 24 hours.
And I think your downside is the $3 level. So there's your risk reward.
Okay. Next, want to talk BTBT at all? They have earnings tomorrow.
I don't think there's anything that's going to come out of the earnings, so it's probably not that material. But you obviously you want to watch Wi-Fi, and you want to see this thing get back up over the IPO price. I think it's relatively cheap compared to the other data center companies out there. But the comments that buying the fourth or fifth largest ETH treasury is not likely to spur big momentum in the stock are valid. So you need this on a combined basis. Both
what is the book value of this now between their ETH holdings and their stake in Wi-Fi?
Yeah, so the valuation comes to, I haven't updated it as of this morning, but eyeballing it, I would say it's around 330. So I think it's still trading at a discount. You're not seeing the sort of premiums to their ETH holdings that you're certainly getting on SBET and BMNR. But that could easily return to the stock if management gets out in the market and starts talking about what their initiatives are going forward to either add to that ETH treasury or other things to create value, and or Wi-Fi starting to perform in the market. So it's the value play of the ETH treasuries. But that's, if you're trading, you don't want to play the value play. If you're long-term holding, which is what I'm doing on BTBT for value creation, then I think you can safely buy it at these levels.
UNH is up 3%. Anyway, just got an alert. Oh, it's already 11:27. Sorry, took up all your time. Was there something else you want to talk about?
I wanted to quickly talk about skating to where the puck is going to be. We've seen the administration, turn their attention obviously to trade. I think that's getting to the latter innings. The administration's turned their attention to crypto, stable coins, drones, next gen defense, data center, in terms of making it much easier to stand up data centers in the U.S., accelerated depreciation, all these kinds of things. I think the group that is going to see a beneficiary of this administration's guns in the second half of this year is housing. And you're seeing this in nail. We saw this thing trade through 70 on the week. Employment numbers, non-farm payrolls.
All over nail now for a couple of weeks. Beautiful. Well done.
Yeah, it's been a great trader. You buy it under 70 and you sell it over 70. But we've seen continuation here right through to over 80. I'll admit that I've sold my trading position in it, and I'm looking to reload it again if we get back, under that 70. But look, every time there's sort of a hint of lower rates, the Fed fund futures go crazy. I mean, people start talking about 50 basis point cuts and or four cuts this year. It's always been far ahead of where I think reality is. In any event, look, Trump was out making these comments about, hey, maybe we eliminate capital gains on principal residences. This is something we have in Canada. It's like the one tax break we have in Canada that you guys don't have in the US. I think that's logical. But there are a bunch of other things that were part of the election campaign that haven't come to fore yet. And certainly lower interest rates benefits housing more than any other single sector. The average multiples on housing are less than 15 times on earnings, yet the ROICs and the ROEs are now 20% plus for a lot of these companies. They've done an incredible job in terms of capital efficiency, but there are mortgage interest deductions. There are tax credits for mortgage insurance. There's expanded tax breaks for first-time home buyers. There's unlocking federal land for residential housing. There's incentives for home builders. There's neighborhood tax credits. There's all sorts of things that the administration can do to spur housing. And this is one of the largest drivers of growth and consumer wealth, as we know. So I really think this is going to be a focus of the Trump administration in the second half of the year. And comments out of both Bessent and Trump hint towards that. So if there's a group anywhere that I think is not seeing the focus that it deserves, it's this. And again, on a risk-reward basis, I think it's ripe for both trading opportunities as well as long.
Very nice. You've killed it all over that. I wish I followed you on nail. All right.
I tried to stay out of there because he was rolling. So I wanted him to be able to finish that. That was awesome. That was really good stuff.
Extra cup of coffee this morning.
Love it. Ben, love that you made money on Ondas. Welcome to the fold. That's really good stuff.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Really good stuff here, boys. We'll catch you next week. All right.
All right.
Take care.
All right, that is Ben, Rhett, and the Godfather. Story Trading doing real good work around here. Appreciate all of you and appreciate them as well. It is time for Futures Fever with Kevin, though, who's going to be filling in for me tomorrow and Friday as well. I'm going to send you over there right now. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great